Come catch Waba live, only on Twitch.
No worries. Welcome in. Hello. All right. So this is part 2 of this study that I'm participating in. Murdering this acorn squash. Feel that. Oh, that's relatable. We love the acorn squash. But yeah, so this is part 2 of an interview process of a study. Basically, I'm being part of a study for Terrence Mock, who is studying autistic streamers' experiences. I think it's really cool stuff. I will link his first study in chat here, if I can. Can I not? Ah, there it goes. Here is the study. But yeah, so this is probably going to be scuffed as all hell. Because it's going to be his first time interviewing, I guess. I'm not sure if he's using like a different interview method, or it's just that I'm the first real participant in this particular set of studies. So I guess it's like he's like refining it. I mean, I'll ask him these questions when I get him on here. But yeah, we're gonna talk. We're gonna chit chat. I'll probably have to switch to my Discord camera, so we'll figure that one out when we do that. All right, I'm gonna let him know. Ready when you are. But yeah, I know it's also an odd time for me to be streaming, so I don't expect a lot of people to actually be here, but I still added everyone for the sake of saying, hey, I'm here. Okay, he's making tea. That's fine. Hello, Nero. Nero was being very playful today. Here, you want to play? Baby. I don't know if he wants to still play, but he was jumping up on me and jumping up on the desk. I don't know what he wants. He has food. He just wants love. He's just playful. Boyfriend is here and that's what matters. That's true. That is true. That is true. Unfortunately, other boyfriend, Frankie, is not home because he got mandated. Those bastards at his work were like, yeah, you don't have to come in at 3 p.m. on a Wednesday, but you got to stay till 3 p.m. on Thursday instead. Get fucked. Ugh. Hate. Lady has a dingleberry. Why is she so floofy? I don't know. Angel seems to keep herself so clean. Like, her butt is so clean. She never has a dingleberry. If anything, it's always Sky. Because he either, he finds a hair of mine to swallow. And then poop just sticks to that out of his butt. And it's gross. But it's always him. Like, he's the one who has all the problems. Yo, Sky straight up, pissed on the floor yesterday. There wasn't even anything on the floor to piss on. He just pissed straight on the floor. And I'm like, bro, are you okay? Do you have a UTI? Hello? I'm sincerely gonna bring Sky into the vet soon. And be like, please fix him. But I'm pretty sure it's just behavioral. I don't think he actually has, a medical thing wrong with him. I'm fairly certain it's just behavioral. He's just annoyed that we cleaned the house. They always get annoyed when we clean the house. Hello. Here he is once again. The child. The child. A child. Hello, child. So we're gonna do the Twitch recap stuff tomorrow at tomorrow's stream time. So today is just the interview for however long it takes. I'm actually gonna turn the music down as well. Probably gonna turn the music off, honestly, once we start doing interview stuff. Sir, that is not the litter box. Literally right on the floor, like in front of the bedroom, right on the floor. Like he just sat there and pissed. And it's like, what are you pissing on? Like usually he pisses on something, like on a piece of clothing or like on like fabric or whatever. But like no, just straight up just on the floor. So I was like, and then according to Frankie, he literally just like sat on the bed as if nothing had happened. What happened? Nothing happened. What are you talking about? I didn't piss on the floor. You're being ridiculous. This guy literally gaslights us about this. Anyway, I cleaned out their litter boxes and I put in fresh litter because clearly he's upset about it or something, even though it's perfectly fine and all the other cats have no problem using litter as is. I switched it out anyway. This guy's just a little wasteful. He's a little wasteful and he's a little dumb. It's okay. I have Nero instead. Nero is not as dumb. He's dumb, but in different and more positive ways. Hello, my little dumb baby. I love you. I love you. What are you looking at? You looking at Angel? Why are you two having a stare off? Why do you hate one another? No hate. Only love. Oh my god. Alright, let's see. Bah. Good to go. Alright, cool. Boop. Let's see if this will work. Alright. Wish me luck here. Hello.
Hello. I can hear you.
That's a good thing. Give me a second.
No problem.
It's this scene. Okay. We got properties, deactivate, and I gotta do this. Wow.
I see you. And cats.
Yeah. You shouldn't
Is,
see me that much. Hold on.
That's okay.
Okay, activate 5. Okay, 1 second. He, him?
Yes.
Scuff. Okay, there you go. That's unfortunate. Oh, that's highly unfortunate. Well, does it work if I do that? It does. I did it. Took me a while to get there.
No problem.
We got there in the end. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shut off music. Yes. I'm ready.
Okay. Cool. All right. Yeah. First of all, thanks again so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll just kind of go over some basic stuff to start. You are streaming this, right? Is that what you said you were going to be doing?
Okay. I am. You are live.
All right. Sounds good. So yeah, some pretty basic stuff just to start. So you filled out the consent.
Yep.
So you're okay with being recorded for this, and having your stream name, WabaStreams, used to like tie to things like quotes and things that you say for like
Fine with me.
publications and presentations and things like that.
Yep.
Okay, so I haven't started recording yet on my side,
Okay.
but I will be doing that. I'll be using OBS
Sure
as
thing.
well. So I'm just going to do a test record just to make sure everything's all good. So could
No
you
problem.
tell me your cat's names? How about?
Hello. Well, the one that on the desk now is Nero. Angel's over there, and Sky's in the watermelon, sleeping.
Right. So let me just go check my recording, make sure that's all good. Okay, that works.
Oh,
All right.
Go for it.
Okay, so this is gonna take roughly 2 hours. Very rough. Full disclosure: the first one going through this part of the study, so there might be some bumps and rough edges. So I apologize in advance for that. So for this study, we're going to be doing, it's sort of like an interview / discussion with, but we have some prompts and things to go through. You can feel free to ask questions at any time about anything. Take a break anytime you need. You can quit at any time if you feel like you don't want to continue. That's no problem.
Sure.
Any kind of questions or topics we get onto, you are not forced to answer anything. You can skip anything. That's no problem at all.
Okay.
Yeah. So with that, I have a Miro board. I don't know if you're familiar with Miro, but
Nope.
I will give you a link to it.
Sure.
Maybe on Discord is the easiest.
Sure. Docs or
And
chat.
I will put the password it should ask you a password. We'll see.
Does ask for a password.
Okay, I'll put that in Discord. Is that?
Yeah, that's fine. Let me just hide the window capture for a second. Nero, could you get off my desk, bro? Please, thank you. Goodbye. Goodbye. I'm ready for it. Thank you. Okay. Never your name.
Okay. So I see your mouse
Waba. Whoops.
going around.
Waba interboard now. Okay. Maybe show that. Okay.
So I see your mouse. Do you see my mouse kind of
this
moving
is
around?
interesting. Yes, I do see it.
Okay. So we're going to be using this. You will.
Am I allowed to show this at all?
Yeah, that's no problem.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll go through the basics of how this works. There's lots of tools and things, but we don't need most of it. But yeah, just to start. So this is about thinking about live streaming from the perspective of autistic live streamers. So the purpose is to kind of find out, again, more about your experiences of live streaming as an autistic streamer.
Sure.
And then, I'm from computer science, so I have a bit of a bias in like my research direction. I'm looking for ways to kind of change live streaming. Can we develop tools to support autistic streamers? Can we think about ways that things that live streaming does well, could we apply those to other social media platforms, things like that? So that's kind of where my bias is coming from and the sort of the purpose of this research.
Okay.
Do you have any questions about that?
No. I mean, you mentioned like this is your first time you're doing it. Is that the thing of it? Is that why like you're like unsure about like the time that it's going to take and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I've done other studies before, but this is the first time I've done this particular activity for a
Oh,
study.
okay, okay. It's a new
Yeah,
activity for you. Okay, got you.
yeah, yeah. So I guess yeah,
Okay,
we'll
sure,
maybe get into some of my background a little bit over or in the kind of
sure.
next set of questions.
It's fine.
But yeah, so we'll start off with some basic questions to go through. We'll review a tiny bit of that themed thinking activity that you did before. And then
Yes.
the kind of meat of this activity is this thing called questionable concepts. And it's also special features is bolded there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
I see that.
basically kind of ideas that are potential solutions to things in live streaming.
Hmm.
They're provocative. They're not actually practical necessarily, but we'll
Sure.
get more into details on that, and I'll have examples of that, and we'll discuss them. You'll pick ones you think are interesting, and continue discussion around those. So,
Okay.
any questions before we move on?
Nope. None so far.
Okay. So on Miro here, just I guess quickly, if you have a mouse wheel, you can zoom in and out
Yep.
with scrolling.
Figured that one out.
If you hold the space bar, you can click and drag to move around. So if you can follow me down,
It's working if I do either
or
right
middle
mouse
mouse
button
click.
or middle mouse click. Yeah. So I
Yeah,
got all that.
right mouse
Oh,
button.
there's a lot of things happening.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you
Didn't
can
realize it's a lot. Sure.
follow me down here. So I've got the basic demographic questions here. So
Uh-huh.
I thought I'm some random researcher dude. So I thought I would, since I'm asking you to fill in the questions, I might as fill them in as well, so you know a little more about me.
Sure.
So to create a new note, so that's kind of the main way you'll interact. You can press N, and it
Okay.
will create a little note, and you can select them, delete them, move them around.
It's cool.
Yeah, so we'll just go through these. Again, you don't have to answer anything you don't feel comfortable answering.
Okay. So
Uh,
this is interesting.
when, yeah, after you create a note, you can click on it. You're figuring it out. Yeah, good.
Oh, there we go. Okay, I see. That's
Yeah.
fairly simple. It's just I'm like trying to align everything. All right.
Yeah, no
I'm
problem.
30 years young. They, them. I'm autistic. Guess
yeah,
I
so we can
identity
delete the
first.
other one. Yeah, I just put those there. If there's other things you prefer or are okay with, like some people say like
Autist.
yeah, things like that. So if you prefer anything else,
It's
that's
so
also good.
interesting. That's like it's such an interesting term to me because when I first saw it, I thought it was like in like a weird like sarcastic or childish context. But then I've heard from other autistic people that like other autistic people are using autists
Mm.
as like a particular part of speech that I can't think of right now. Not past participle, but that's the thing that's coming to my mind. It's not it, but it's just conjugation is a thing in the English language, and I guess suppose autist would be it.
Yeah.
Masters in mental health counseling. I can't spell. I can't spell still.
Don't worry.
Noise and sure. Not planning on it either. Current status, occupation, student disability.
Yeah, so some of the people I talk to are, they're not working because they're on disability. Some people are, some people full-time, some people part-time, some students.
I should probably put in here full-time case coordinator for housing. Part-time content creator, I suppose. Country of residence, United States, sadly. Say. Race. I'm very white.
And yeah, in streaming
you-
experience, if you have some basic numbers, and then I'd like to hear a little bit about kind of your streaming story, I guess you could say, like how you
Um,
decided to get into it and how it, how it was starting off versus now. So just a little bit.
I mean, so like I started off like a lot of COVID streamers, I'd say. Um, like when the pandemic started, it gave me an excuse to stream. Um, but I think unlike a lot of COVID streamers, I had been thinking about streaming. Well, maybe not unlike them, but like I had been thinking about streaming for a long, long time. Um, and I guess the pandemic gave me an excuse, though. The nature of my work lets me be pretty fairly free as it is. Like the fact that I'm able to do this right now, don't tell my work, um, you know, is pretty great. And when I guess I started June 2020, like pandemic already started for a couple months there. And it seems we weren't going to be like forced to go back to work anytime soon. So it's just like, all right, you know what? Fuck it. This is the time to do it. Because, I thought of it this way. A lot of people are going to be looking for a connection. A lot of people it was already starting to look like people are going to start being really depressed about, being stuck inside. So I had always wanted to do some sort of content creation in some way, shape, or form. And especially I wanted to be tied with doing mental health stuff. So I started up doing just mental health talking streams, talking to people, anyone who wants to come in, tell me their life story, and I provide empathy and peer support and advice and whatnot. Which involved mental health Mondays, which involved interviews, which involved to everything else that I do now, memes and more, basically just like variety of everything, but always focused on mental health. And I still am 3 years later.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
And you mentioned like kind of thinking about getting into live streaming for quite a while.
Yeah.
Like what were your thoughts back then? Like why did you want to get into like content creation, I guess you said, but then like live streaming specifically?
I mean, I had always, it's hard to read my mind from 3 years ago, but,
Yeah.
and a lot has happened. A lot has happened in those 3 years. Holy moly, a lot has happened. I've moved a couple times now. Have I moved twice? No, I've only moved once in those 3 years, but still a lot has happened just like in general in my life. I basically had just graduated from my master's program the year prior, and I finally had like a stable job that I felt pretty secure in, that I could fuck around and whatnot. And I don't know, like live streaming in general is always just like something in the back of my mind, as just like I see all these people on Twitch, I see them reaching so many people, affecting people in positive ways, and it was just seemed like such like a really cool thing for me to want to do. Truthfully, 8 years prior to that, I actually had my first stream technically was me trying to commentate a League of Legends game. That didn't go so well. I was just overconfident and thought I knew what the fuck I was talking about, and I didn't at all. But it was kind of my first experience with like online stuff at all. And I'd also done like some YouTube stuff, but it was like very small little Timmy's first YouTube video type ish stuff. And I also did some like feelings, like thought journaling stuff on YouTube as well while I was at college in Drexel. And that was interesting. So I was always like in like kind of not in content creating mind, but just in the mind of like putting myself out there online in many different ways. So streaming just like was kind of like a natural progression of like, I want to try this now. And I feel so far that it's gone really well. I feel like I've made a lot of really good connections. I feel like I've made a lot of positive impact in people's lives, and I think I still continue to do that today. At least I hope I do.
Awesome. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, like I'll be typing and taking notes
Yeah,
and stuff, and like
of course.
looking at my different screens and things. So
Absolutely. No problem.
if it looks like I'm not listening or something, I'm totally am. But,
No, my eyes are like I'm in between two of my screens right now. The third one
oh
is
yeah,
up there. So my
and
chat's here. The Miro thing is up there.
yeah. So yeah, I forgot. Yeah, you are streaming. So if you want to attend to people in chat or whatever, that's totally fine
There's
too.
no
That's
chat
no
happening right
problem.
now. This is not my normal stream time, so I don't expect a lot of people are gonna come in. But if they do, it'd be cool.
Yeah.
It'd be an interesting
Uh,
experience for them to watch. I'll probably put this up on YouTube later. Although it's already on. It's already gonna be on a YouTube live VOD. So
oh, cool. Yeah, I had a couple other questions, I guess, following up on that as well.
go for it.
So you
Hey,
talked
Hotness.
about sort of wanting to do it for a good amount of time.
Yes.
Was there something that stopped you from actually taking the leap and starting it?
Um. Yeah. I think just in general, um, a big part of this is what I was gonna get into as well is a big part of like starting streaming was having a plan. I needed to have a plan for myself. I needed to know that I would be available for like certain times so I could keep a consistent stream schedule because I knew for a fact that that was an important factor in any kind of success. Um, and just in general thinking about like what is my why of streaming. My why of streaming is I want to reach as many people as possible and impact them in the most significant of ways that I can. It's a bit hard. I will admit it's a bit of a hard and lofty goal. But it's my goal nonetheless, and continues to be. But that being said, I still wanted to come up with a plan. So the problem is that because my work schedule at the time was different and I was, I was going to school, I had college, I had a, balanced college and everything. And then I was in the new job and the new job was pretty volatile. And, sometimes I'd be very busy during the days I would want to stream and I'd come home very tired. I really wouldn't want to do anything else. Or I had other things planned. I had other obligations. You know, I was also, yeah, like just so many things came up. So streaming never really crossed my mind as like something I could do right there and then, like say even a year ago from then than when I started. Just because of the fact that I had so many other obligations going on and I was more interested in putting energy into those things than I was into trying to do any other content online type-ish stuff. So I suppose in some ways maybe my priorities changed or just like things happened so that, it lined up better once pandemic hit. I'll give you a few examples. I think one of the major things I was busy with was I was doing a lot of Dungeons and Dragons in real life. But then once pandemic happened, we couldn't really do that much anymore. And, one of my groups fell apart and then another group fell apart. And now I didn't have obligations to my college anymore. I wasn't going to school anymore. I didn't have, pep band to go to or marching band practice or this, that, and the other. I had no more tests. I just had my job. I finished up my degree stuff. And so it was like, finally I was able to kind of like rest for once. So I think just basically the timing lined up really, really well overall. And then after, a year in the job where I was just like kind of still getting my grounds and, I wasn't coming home dead tired anymore, I felt ready to do it.
I see. Cool. And can you recall beyond that League of Legends stream, what your first sort of going live stream was like? Again, it's hard to think back maybe that many years, like you said, but can you, recount like that first stream, what it was like, how you felt during and after the stream?
I wish I had highlighted it. Because I really don't know what my first stream was of. I think it was like a mental health stream. It was either mental health or Minecraft. And I don't know, like that first like month and a half of streaming was really interesting because like I got into streaming Twitter and I started like, you know, trying to network, trying to like I fell into the trap of like doing follow for a bit initially, and then eventually learned, okay, yeah, that's not okay. And you know, it doesn't really work out too well. And I met a lot of people, I made a lot of connections, and I don't know, like just in general, like all of my first streams were very kind of like oh, what's the word I use? Free and fancy. I don't know why that term just came to mind. Like very just like kind of like I had purpose, but I was very just like, I don't know. It was more I don't know.
Kind of on the fly, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. I don't know. Like I still had a plan, I still had a schedule, I still like knew what I wanted to do. And it was definitely nervous. It was definitely like a bit nerve-wracking sometimes. And it felt a bit sad when I didn't get any interaction, but I was still happy for just one interaction. And I started telling myself, to help myself, I started telling myself, as long as my stream makes one person feel better that day, and even if that person is myself, then that was a successful stream. If I get 0 viewers and I enjoy myself, then it was worthwhile my time.
Awesome. And this is going back a little bit again. So, sorry for jumping around a bit, but
No problem.
you talked about being, I guess, a viewer of streams beforehand.
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell me a little
For
bit
sure.
about that? Like, how did you engage
Yeah.
as a viewer on Twitch or YouTube Live or wherever?
So Twitch mostly, because Twitch is the streaming service and always has been and still continues to be kind of like the king of that. But yeah, I mean, I used to watch a lot of Twitch way back in the Drexel days. So this is like 2012. You know, watching a lot of League streamers. You know, I didn't really do any like, I didn't really go into any like just chatting streamers. I kind of wish I did when I was younger. It might have helped me.
There wasn't as many back then.
There probably wasn't as many, yeah. Or the ones who were around are like XQZ, and it's not really just chatting, it's just like chaotic. So it's not in my cup of tea, still isn't. You know, so yeah, I was just mostly watching like League streamers, and then I started getting into like Minecraft content because I liked Minecraft my whole life. And then Philza died in his 5-year hardcore world, and he got majorly popular, so I jumped in that bandwagon when I saw his story. So I've been a part of his community for a while, and I still watch him now today. Like, I've kept up my Prime sub. He's my one Prime sub to a bigger channel. Like, in general, I usually encourage people to like support smaller streamers if they can. Because, you know, the bigger, like, if they have a limited budget for Twitch stuff, like, support the smaller streamers, because the big streamers will be fine. Like, they have ad deals and they get millions of subs anyway, or thousands of subs, so they're fine. But, like, definitely focus on the smaller guys, because we don't get as much preferential treatment.
Yeah.
And we don't get the viewership. Impact. It does make a bigger impact, exactly, precisely.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. When you were a viewer, was it mostly for entertainment purposes? Were you chatting, socializing, you know, engaging in other ways?
Yeah, I mean, definitely before I started streaming, I was more using Twitch as like a just watching entertainment kind of channel. Very rarely, I'd say. I really was not using it before 2020 as like a way to connect with others, which is kind of a shame, but it is what it is. But after 2020, when I started streaming, that's when I really started using Twitch in that socializing way, to connect to other people, for better and for worse, unfortunately.
Can you tell me like the worst part of that? What are you getting at with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So there is this dude called North Trooper. Um, and honestly, he's not unique in what he was doing. There was a lot of these kind of, I guess the best way to describe this is like MLM pyramid schemes, like basically Twitch grifts, where this person, this charismatic leader, would recruit a bunch of Twitch streamers, to basically, watch his channel, boost him to partner, and then he'll you scratch his back, you scratch his back, he'll scratch your back, rage it back, all that other stuff, encourage everyone to watch everyone else's channel, and everyone should have 30 viewers and all this other crap and nonsense. Hurrah hurrah, follow for follow, sport for sports shit, and do all these like, the wackiest thing about that whole situation is like he always like was like, this is we have like an inner circle and all this other stuff. So it's very like culty, like, and they made jokes about how people were calling it a cult, in typical cult fashion, in typical MLM fashion. But it was fun, but it was definitely a very toxic place, because a lot of people were like hyper focused, especially him, obviously hyper focused on the numbers. It kind of almost felt like an emotional like reward and punishment system if like he didn't get 100 viewers that day average. Like, it wasn't enough, it was never enough, you had to share with your friends, and he needed people to like post his link everywhere, and I don't know, it was like this whole like fucking thing. And like people finally got fed up with him once he did like a giveaway, and then gave it to like the giveaway was, the premise was like, whoever gets the most interaction on this tweet gets like a stinking little table or something. And this person got the most interaction, but they didn't win. He instead gave it to like his new Twitch partner friend, who's like a DJ who averages like 300 viewers. And people got pissed at him for that, and finally called him out, and it was just like, oh my god, you're a piece of shit. And it's just like, yeah, he's been a piece of shit the whole time, you guys. I was here infiltrating. Like, I literally came into the inner circle just to like fucking observe this shit and take record. I'm like, guys, he's been a piece of shit his whole life. Like, this is literally psychopathic behaviors, the shit that he was spewing. But he was just like, cover it up by saying like, oh, it's all business practice, blah, blah, blah. And maybe it was to some extent business practice, but it definitely was not ethically okay in any sense of the word. But anyway, that was kind of the worst of it. And then the other worst of it is that some of those same people that was part of that, we organized a charity stream for Extra Life. And by organize a charity stream for Extra Life, I mean I ended up doing a lot of the organization work and telling people, okay, you're streaming at this time, and make sure you raid this person, and make sure you're ready, and da-da-da. I did all that kind of stuff. And then, I celebrated us reaching 20K, and I made a joke during stream. I was just like, lol, Twitch partner, because I had like 86 people, because it was like a giant raid-a-thon, right? And I made the same joke on Twitter, and then people were like, oh my god, you're trying to use charity to like advance yourself? You're a piece of shit, Waba. And I'm like, bro. So I just deleted my tweet instead of like actually calling them out and being like, actually, this was from stream, and like it's a joke, and it's tongue-in-cheek. And I'm not actually trying to use charity to promote myself here. I'm just saying it's great that we raised 20K. It's fucking awesome. But anyway, they all turned on me, and I realized that's what those people do. And I decided not to interact with any of them ever again. So that was great. Not really, but
Yeah.
But yeah,
Thanks
that's the fucking vicious cycle of streaming sometimes, is that you get involved with a group of people, unfortunately they have, their cliques, they have their circles already. And you might have favor with them for a little bit of time, but you say the wrong, you make one misstep, or you say one thing out of context, and they want to start, making passive aggressive tweets about you and shit like that, and it's just like, bro, like, what the fuck? Like, I just didn't get it. I still don't get it. I don't get why people do that passive aggressive shit on Twitter, because like, to talk about streaming in general and getting into streaming, we also have to talk about streamer Twitter as a whole entire unit of a ecosystem there, of just like toxicity and that like potential to like be caught up in a what can only be described as a drama circle of, you know, trying to call people out or trying to like start drama to garner attention. It's the old adage of all attention is good attention, you know? So it's just like, it doesn't matter who you shit on as long as you're shitting on someone, but then you go live on stream to explain yourself and you're like, I don't know what they're talking about. They're being ridiculous, you know, just gaslight everyone. Be like, I totally never said that. And even if I did, I didn't mean it. And if I meant it, well, then they deserved it, you know? Abuse 101 shit.
Yeah, it's like I hear that a lot from streamers that it's not just streaming. You know, you're online, you have
Wait.
you have a lot of other social contexts and situations and platforms to deal with. It's not just you're on Twitch and that's it. So yeah, it's interesting to hear about that kind of stuff. And I will say, like, in previous studies I've done, like the one I linked you previously, that paper that you mentioned, like Jane the Message was in there.
Yep,
Like
I know
the
Jane.
focus was on the majority of the focus was on like the positive aspects of streaming for autistic streamers, like, you know,
Absolutely.
how it's enriching and useful for them, what they get out of it, that kind of thing, as well as some of the challenges. And I will say this study, like I'm trying to not necessarily focus, but bring in some more of those ideas about challenges and negative things that happen, because, you know, my hope in the end is to, you know, potentially address some of those things, build things around that. Think about moderation tools, these sorts of things. So there is a slant a little bit to, you'll see in some of the questions I have later, or some of the prompts I have later, is a little more on the negative side.
That's fine. I mean, I don't mind talking about the negative stuff as much as I like talking about the positive stuff. I think it's important to consider both, because I really do look at it as kind of like there's going to be always amongst all the positivity and all the hype and whatnot and all the good interaction you can get, there's always going to be a chance of negative interaction, and you have to frankly be prepared to deal with that, or kind of learn on the fly, or kind of learn to at least take a step back and, you know, not involve yourself. I feel like there could be like an entire class of like, you know, how to engage with with people on Twitter as an autistic person, because like, holy moly, there's some spicy discussions.
A special place.
So if you got $1 billion, we could buy it back from Muskie Boy.
Is it still worth that much? I don't know.
No, God, no.
Yeah.
Ugh.
All right. Switching back to the Miro, I guess.
Yes.
We'll kind of move on a little bit. So if we can kind of scroll down a little bit.
By the way, chat, thank you everyone for being here. I appreciate you. If you have any suggestions, or if you want to say anything to Terrence or about the study or about what we're talking about, feel free to chime in. You guys, y'all are allowed to talk. We like it, and it helps, I'm sure.
Yeah, and just like I'm not recording chat in any way for this, so it's like I'm recording just kind of what we're talking about and recording this Miro board thing that we're working on. So if chat is interested at all.
So thanks everyone, appreciate you.
Yeah, so on the Miro board down here, if you follow where my mouse is at this review themed thinking. So this is just to quickly kind of remind you of what you already did, because it was a couple weeks ago now. So I presented these themes to you with some quotes. I put squares next to the ones that you sort of chose as most interesting.
Foolish.
To you. You did quite a few, so you had quite a long stream.
Yep.
That I watched a good chunk of it. I didn't get around to all of it yet.
That's okay.
Been dealing with 2 sick kids, but
oh jeez.
They're both at school and preschool today. So
okay, that's good. Hope they're all right.
Yeah, so I just wanted to review this quickly, and
Sure.
ask if you had any additional comments from, seeing these themes again, or if you had any questions about that prior research or these themes.
Um, I mean, I think it was definitely interesting. I don't know if it was helpful, but it was interesting. I think it was good. I think it was good. I don't think it was bad, but I think it was interesting that you had like a couple of quotes about each of these things from the different people you interviewed before, and then you kind of just like phrased each question of like compared to this statement, like do you, does this resonate with you? Is this different for you? And then the other question, oh man, I had so much trouble with this, and you probably heard me talk about this, but like each section had basically the same 5 questions effectively.
Yeah.
And the last question was, how do you feel you're different compared to neurotypical streamers?
Yes.
And I had a lot of difficulty with that question because I wasn't sure what to compare myself to or who.
Hmm.
Um, because I tried it, I took it in like okay, what is the mainstream, streamers experience with this, or like what have I observed as far as like what equates what I perceive to be a neurotypical stream, or what I would think a neurotypical streamer would talk about or think about or connect with. Um, so I guess what I'm saying is that it was hard to say if I had a good reference point or if I had an accurate reference point. Um, though I suppose you could say in the entire field of psychology, um, uh, my bias and my perception of what I think neurotypical is probably just as important as what it actually is, and then what I'm comparing myself to. But it's impossible to ask that question of like, what is your idea? What is your mental construct of a neurotypical streamer?
Yeah.
But I felt like that's
Because
kind of
you
what I was
aren't.
asking. Right,
Yeah.
for sure. I'm not.
Yeah.
And I don't know if any of the other popular, the most popular streamers necessarily are either.
Hmm. That's true.
Um, I think I think I think I've said this before, but like I'm pretty sure to be successful in streaming, you like almost gotta be ADHD at the very least. Like it's either ADHD or it's like some wicked business savvy. I don't know. And it's either wicked business savvy or you're in like some sort of niche that's very popular. Because I think every single popular streamer that I could think of off the top of my head is either has ADHD or is ADHD coded in some way, like has
Yeah.
traits. Can't
And
prove it, but like a lot of them definitely feel like not neurotypical. But to be fair, they could be neurotypical and they're just playing up, they're playing a character, becomes acting at a certain point. I mean, in general, streaming can be performative.
yes.
And it's just like, an exaggeration of one's real personality. So it could look like ADHD when it's not, but it looks like ADHD because that's what's popular, is to be, in your face and hype and all this other stuff.
Mhm.
So it's hard. So again, it was hard for me to have a construct in my mind of what am I comparing myself to when you say what is my experience as an autistic streamer versus someone who's a neurotypical streamer. But I think I still answered the questions pretty okay.
Yeah, for sure. I
Based on that.
think I could definitely, do with some rewording and
Sure.
wordsmithing to make it better. I think what I was trying to get at is sort of like,
Oh, you could. I thought you were saying I could. Yeah, I'm like, yeah,
oh
I
no,
could
me, me,
reword my shit.
me, my side, no, my
Okay,
side, on
gotcha.
how to ask it. Because I think what I'm
Ask
trying
it
to
either.
get at with some of those is like, um, and going, you sort of mentioned psych literature, so like going back to those kinds of things, it's pretty common to ask autistic people like, sort of, what is your experience of like certain social situations, like you're in a group and you're talking with people, and how are you feeling, and how how are you perceiving how other people in that conversation are interacting. And I think you even mentioned this in one of your answers, like growing up, you felt like people had a player's manual, or at least it felt like you were missing a player's manual for like interacting in
Yep.
certain social situations.
That's part of it for sure. You mentioned group work, and my brain just went to, oh god, college group work. They're all fucking incompetent, and we're never going to accomplish anything.
Yeah.
And then I had to do all the work and get none of the credit.
Seen that
It's great.
from both sides, being an instructor and a TA myself.
Mhm.
So I've seen it both ends.
I've literally had to tell teachers before, like, listen, I did all the fucking work and they're giving me 0 of the credit. Please do something.
I've seen that before. Usually there's some kind, or hopefully there's some kind of like team contract kind of thing that's sort of what they do now. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So if we can, I guess, move on now to kind of the main part of this second activity here.
Did you have any other
go ahead.
questions? Hold on, about the themes. I think you asked something else and I never answered it.
Oh, if you had questions for me, I guess, or around
About the themes?
Yeah, about the themes or the prior research that I did, the interviews that I did.
Yes. I forget which section, and I think I pointed it out, but the quotes that you used for, what was it? One of these. The quotes that you used for control of an interaction in space, I didn't feel like, I mean, it didn't necessarily match my definition of like thinking about that concept of control of interaction in space. Like, I thought you meant more in like a moderation sense. And I felt like the quotes didn't really match that, so I answered according to the quotes. But then I also felt that that kind of like was almost asking the same questions as access to people and social experiences in general. I felt those two subjects were very, very similar. But I understand that they're like two parts of like the same overlapping, just general experience of like interacting with others, period.
Yeah, all of them overlap in some ways or another.
Yeah.
And moderation is definitely a part of that control of interaction in space. Maybe I didn't choose quotes that reflected that very well, but I definitely would include things like moderation as being under control of interaction in space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my only comment on that. So I was a bit confused. Okay, where we go now?
Down here. So I mentioned this idea before of questionable concepts. So this is an idea that's been used in prior research to engage with various groups of people, older adults, autistic people, neurotypical people, just for kind of designing new things or thinking about designing new things. So an example here is from an older paper thinking about banking for older adults.
Okay.
And I'm sure you're reading through some of these, and they're just sort of like ideas that may solve some issue, may solve a problem, may address something, but don't kind of go all the way. They're just kind of like a little jumping off point. They may not be realistic. They may introduce new problems. That's okay. But it's really that there's starting points for discussion is the idea. So I'll have some of these kinds of things specifically for live streaming, but I have some other examples as well. So if you're looking through these, I don't know if you have any questions regarding these or thoughts on them, just briefly, because we're not worried about banking.
Yeah, I mean, contact cards sounds like a good idea, but instead of stamping the bank card, you'd have the person print out a sheet of the bills that they have for the month. Like, you type this up with them, and then once they pay a bill, they stamp it themselves to mark it for themselves that they've paid it for that month and they don't have to worry about it. So every time that they think, oh shit, did I forget to pay this? They can just look to their sheet and have the sheet like posted like on the fridge or something, like in a central place in the apartment or the house. to be like, oh, okay, no, I did pay this month. Okay, I already stamped it, which means I did pay it, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. And you can put other things on there as far as like tasks type stuff. So I think that's a good idea, not just for seniors, but also for people with memory issues because trauma or other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, these other ones are very interesting.
Yeah, I
But I
mean,
feel like very problematic potentially.
yeah, and I think that's the idea around some of these is they're provocative, they're interesting, like you said, they're problematic, and that's okay. And just talking through those problems, potential problems, and other potential solutions and things like that is kind of the idea of this session today with you. Is like thinking about live streaming and thinking through some of these examples that I will have, and like it's really a starting point of discussion. And then if you can choose to continue to the third activity, so a third session with me, it will be more about then taking those ideas and discussions and trying to like sketch little prototype things, like come up with some more like concrete ideas.
Okay.
Would be the next session. But that for now, where it's discussion and speculating and just kind of thinking a lot.
That's fun. Before we move on, it's 3-minute
Yep.
ad break if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
So
Yeah.
everyone go get stretched, go get a drink of
I'll
water or
drink
something. We'll be right
some
back.
of my tea.
Wrong scene. There we go.
You're good? Ready to go?
Yeah, we're good. All right, welcome back.
Okay. All right, so we can move on to the next section if we scroll down.
Yeah.
So these are some example questionable concepts from some prior research. Not my research, but they use this idea to talk with autistic people about their social media use. So they came up with a few examples, and I have some here. So I'll give you, a couple minutes to read through them. And then, if you have any notes or things you want to put on here, you can do that, or just talk with me and I can write notes. Just kind of your sort of quick thoughts on these little examples.
The masking badge. For neurodiverse neurotypicals alike, a badge anyone can proudly spawn in their social media profiles. We're not sure what for. Are they an autistic supporter, a parent of an autistic child, an inclusivity champion, something else? Help us figure it out. Interesting. Welcome back, gamers. Thank you, babe. Shiny bones, professional plumber, amateur gardener, aspiring pianist, husband and dad. No need to mask when interact with me. Not taking things personally, guaranteed. Oh, that's an interesting. That's so fucking interesting. Oh man, I have many words for that one. Verified mask. Mask. Verified, unmasked, communication user, question mark. So basically, this person's basically saying because they have the mask badge, that means that autistic people don't have to feel obligated to mask when interacting with them.
Yes.
That brings a lot of really interesting things, because are they verified by like some board? Who's the board?
Is there potential for abuse here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Verifies abuse potential. Safe, but actually large following, gaslight time. Choo-choo. Because that happens a lot. Just in the course of the internet, is that like someone's like, guys, I'm an ally, and then they have like, and then someone has like a really negative experience with them, but they have a lot of followers, so it doesn't matter if one person had a negative experience. Everyone just bandwagons, be like, how dare you call our queen, this, that, and the other thing. And it's just like, bro.
Yeah.
That's
I'm sure we could talk a long time about these, but
sorry.
I said, no, it's good that you're like engaged with it. I'm happy to see. I just want to make sure that we get to the live streaming stuff too. So, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry to push you along, but yeah.
Post filters, filters you can apply to photographs. Same thing, but if you're social media posts, just between cold, warm, funny, colored, and troll filters. What is this like? As in like?
So I think the basic idea here is like you write your post and then you say, make it warm for me, like kind of.
Oh, like AI?
Like get a rewrite AI kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, these are not.
That's a fun one. I'm not opposed to that. I mean, I think AI has some interesting applications. But then the latest problem has become people mistaking other people as AIs when we're just autistic. That's interesting as a rewrite. I mean, you don't really have to, I mean, I know it's a fake example, but I don't think that post deserves or needs a rewrite. Though it would be interesting if you did like press one of those, just like, what does cold mean? What is like funny troll means something. Yeah. Colorful doesn't mean anything to me. Well, cold and warm doesn't mean anything to me, because like half this is weather and half this is feelings.
Yeah, I don't really know how it would look if that was rewritten exactly.
I know. I know it's not you. Asshole. Okay, that's fun. Your pie. Your pie. You're a private investigator. You get a full report on who you're talking to on social media. I already do this shit. Where they live. Oh yeah. Just dox people. That's great. what they do, what they're interested in, plus prior histories of trolling, harassment, deceit, or just general assholeness. Includes handy classifications of people from nice to troll. I think we should have Twitter community notes on profiles. That'd be funny, but it's 100% abuse. 100%. 100%.
Yeah, there was
abused and spammed, no doubt.
a Firefox extension or something that did something like that for Reddit that would like kind of label accounts as whether or not they were transgender friendly, like they used bad language and stuff like that. But that extension got abused, and like I don't know if it's updated anymore.
It is. It's called Shirogami Eyes.
Yes.
And it works very well actually. And it literally tells you if some like news article, like The Guardian, for instance, like all Guardian pages are red. You know, you Google something that's anti-trans, they'll be like super in red. Like various Wikipedia pages will be red as well. So yeah, Shirogami Eyes does still work as far as I know, and it works for Twitter as well. Yeah. Real name.
So what do you think about something like that for Twitch users? Like, if
I do that shit.
People in your Twitch chat had these labels and it was community shared.
Yeah, Twitch kind of does that already with the shared ban lists and the shared moderator comments for users. I'm a pretty, I don't know if this is a good word for it, but I'm a pretty like reactionary. Ooh, that's a spicy word. I'm a pretty reactionary banner. I ban a lot of people very freely because I just don't want to deal with any bullshit at all ever. Like, literally, I think half the problem is like the people that I end up banning right away are saying pretty egregious things that like wouldn't stand anywhere, you know. And then the other half of it is, you know, I don't know. The other half of it is like people who have been like long-standing members of my community that have been problematic, but not problematic to a point where they're like they're disruptive but not disruptive enough, and it's kind of one of those edge cases. Those are the cases that definitely like mod notes, it really is helpful. And I have a mod channel for myself, and I usually tell people that I like moderate in like, hey, I'm gonna ban this user for you because they're just trouble. They've been trouble for me for like 2 years and they're not worth your fucking time. And they might come in here and do the same shit they did to me. So I'm just trying to like preventatively help. And I think it'd be useful. Oh, you know, it'd be really useful. Actually, you got me thinking now. Is if I could put a moderator note for these certain users that have been problems in my community for years. If I could put a community note for them, and other people, like other streamers, irregardless if they know me or not, can see those community notes about those users. Yeah. That would be interesting. Again, the same concept of like community notes, but for Twitch users. That would be interesting. I think it'd be interesting just to, and Twitch recently disabled this, unfortunately. I think, did they? I don't know. I can find out right now. Hold on. There used to be a thing on Twitch where you can, well, not on Twitch, but just in general, back-end Twitch. Maybe PasadaBot can still do this, actually. Yeah, I'm not banned. Yeah, okay, so this backend thing still works. XQC. Yeah, there we go. Okay, it still works. Never mind. This shit's so good, and if Twitch integrated this into like their normal mainstream platform, so PasadaBot basically taps into like a bunch of Twitch backend stuff to read data about if users were banned in certain channels. Now, if you could combine that with moderator notes, and basically when a new user comes into your channel, that user already has like a bunch of a bunch of moderator notes attached to them from other people's channels. That would be really interesting if you could read other moderator notes on users from other people's channels, like just automatically. It came with their username.
Do you think
and
like adding
bans.
on adding on to that even more information, like not necessarily bans and moderator notes, but even like who someone is subscribed to, how often they've chatted in a particular channel. Like, oh, this person chats a lot in, I can't think of a good/bad example, like Destiny's channel or something. He's no longer on Twitch, but
what was I gonna say?
would knowing that kind of information be useful, too much, not useful?
I always think more data is better, as long as there's a search function and it's categorized and organized nicely so you can click through it. Obviously it probably in a lot of respects it probably wouldn't do your mental health any good to like meticulously go through every single user that you have, or if you have a very big channel, then you can just like stop whatever they're doing right there and then. And a lot of streamers as well, this is something that I ran into a lot when I was like very involved with a lot of these communities. A lot of the streamers there had this policy which I could not deal with personally, but they had this policy of basically like, well, they haven't done that shit in my channel, so I'm not gonna ban them. Even though we're friends, and I know that they're doing this shit in your channel, they haven't done anything in my channel yet, so I'm not gonna ban them. And I didn't get behind that at all. I didn't get that at all, and I still don't get that at all, because I'm just like, I feel like at that point you're like inviting the trouble. Like man, like, is it really, like, are you really at the point of like you're like anything for a view that you're gonna like be okay with someone who has been known to like harass other people in someone else's channels that you're friends with? Like, huh? I don't get that. And I literally have told my bots, like, listen, if you know someone's been like doing some shit like off platform or on someone else's channel, tell me. I will ban them. No questions asked. I will ban them. Like, I don't want that shit here.
To me.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, what you're saying.
Like, I hope so.
I mean, if they're a problematic person,
it didn't make sense to them because they were just like, well, they didn't do that shit in my channel. Like, what does that matter? Who cares? They might do it. Public. There's the potential that they did. They still did it in a public space. Like they were. Oh my god. I'm not even getting into it. But yeah, it was basically that. That was the situation. You have no bans. Yeah, good job, Will. Good job.
Cool. All right. Right. We can move on, I guess, now to, in this last hour, the kind of live streaming specific stuff, which we've started getting into. Okay. So these are some ideas that, are not good. They're not good ideas, but they're just things I've come up with based on prior research and based off like
that's me.
That first activity that you did with me. And again, it's just, starting points for discussions. So this first one, I don't know if you want me to quickly kind of read through it, but the description is there. Somebody is watching. The idea is that it can be hard to kind of be entertaining and talk while nobody's actually watching you. And the idea here is that you'd have a simulated audience to kind of get that engagement going.
God, that's hilarious. Oh, that's... Okay, hold on. That's huge. Hi, Asta. You're problematic, but not to others. That's good. Don't be problematic to others.
Try not to be problematic to yourself either.
Yeah, treat yourself with kindness. Right? But welcome in. Hope you're doing well. We're getting interviewed right now. Okay. Wow. All right.
Questions,
somebody's watching.
Comments,
Gives me instant
concerns.
Audience. Nobody's watching. It started being entertaining and talkative. Have an AI audience ready to laugh at my jokes and set me up to be the best streamer I can be. Even if I'm alone, I don't have to act like it. I don't know about anyone else. I would love this shit. This would be fucking hilarious, man. Now. Yeah. I'm gonna start making notes. This is funny. You know me, Waba. I do try, but suck at it. That's okay. Sucking at something is the first step at being kind of good at something. Jake the dog, right? Funny. This is funny. Good to keep spirits up, but existential crisis at talking to robots.
Yeah.
That's my first thing. My second thing is could be confusing for real viewers.
Yep.
Make obvious is bot. My friend Markin has a bot in his channel called Fixed It Bot, who's been what is the correct wording of this? It has been not programmed, but basically, I suppose programmed is a good word as any. It's been programmed to be a sarcastic, funny, witty bot that helps fix things.
I see. Yeah.
So it responds to people in chat with funny and witty remarks, or just like says funny things. So I like that. I would like having something like that in my channel. I've asked him before if he could put Fixed It Bot in my channel or something similar.
Do you know how that's spelled?
Fixed It. Yeah, Fixed. Fixed. Yeah, you got it.
Not fixed tit, but
yeah,
fixed it. Yeah, like there are bots in channels. I mean, when I was thinking of this, kind of one of the ideas was that the bot would actually listen to you as the streamer.
Yeah, no, I know.
Respond to you potentially, and like, you know, what do you think of?
That would be interesting. I mean, voice. I mean, voice interaction.
That
voice.
Exists. Yeah.
Yeah, voice like recognition, voice training, recognition.
Even like video, like, oh, the bot saw your cats walk across stream and comment on it.
I mean, that'd be cool if you can get it to work, but you have to refine it and train it to each streamer for sure. Acorn squash almost done. Nice. Beautiful acorn squash.
So what about stepping back from the bot idea for a second and thinking about this, like nobody's watching, but you're still trying to be entertaining and talkative, and like just in case somebody stops by. Yeah, I'm sure you've had some experience with that. I think you mentioned a little bit of that when you started out, for sure.
For sure, everyone goes through this for a while, where you don't really have too many people to talk to or bounce off of. I mean, I think today is a great example, actually. You know, where I don't have a lot of people in chat right now. I don't have a lot of active chatters, but I know in my mind that I still have viewers, and I'm not even trying to be necessarily entertaining right now. I'm just trying to be informative to you and help you with the study here, giving you my experience. But even still, even on the days where I don't really have much interaction, I kind of like, again, go back to that notion of like, as long as I'm making one person happy, and that person can be me. So even if no one laughs at my joke, I'm gonna laugh at my joke because I think I'm friggin' hilarious sometimes. You know. So I guess kind of like thinking about like, how do we train people to be okay with being by themselves? Because for a lot of people who do start streaming that are very lonely, that's the thing, that they're lonely. They want someone to talk to, but when they have no one to talk to, they get extremely sad. And it's you know, it's kind of, you know, unfortunately sometimes it can drive a person further into like a depression hole when they don't have a lot of people in their stream. But for me, I think of it, I reframe it for myself just the opposite way. Right. As Will said, 4 people listening to you is actually a lot of people if you think about it. Like, if you imagine yourself in a room and there's 4 other people standing behind you listening to your every word, like, that's a lot of attention, actually, if you think about it. And I normally average about like 10 to 15 people, depending on what kind of stream I'm doing, you know? And that's a lot. That's literally like that. My whole room would be filled, you know? That's basically my house.
And that's
like
people
my room,
coming
my hallway.
in and out too. Like,
right, like different people are coming in and out and be like, oh, what's going on? sharing that with the world, and it can be a very, very special and meaningful thing. Also, I realized that my music was still on. Let me bop that off. Sorry about that, everyone. But yeah, I think it's a really, really cool thing to be able to share stuff with the world. Just the idea and conception of streaming is being able to know that other people give a shit, though I completely understand not having any interaction at all really does feel like no one gives a shit because they're not talking. But you have to understand, I guess this is another thing that to potentially teach people is that talking or interacting with the stream is not the only way that people show a streamer love or show up to a chat. You know what I mean? Like, I appreciate the fuck out of my lurkers because I imagine that they're listening and that they feel what I have to say is important, or they want to just support me just by being here, and, you know, drawing potentially more eyes to the stream. Even the lurkers that are not listening and just have a tab up and are just doing other things, you know, maybe I'm background noise, maybe I'm not, maybe they just want to support. Either way, it helps. It all helps. So I honestly, truly appreciate it all.
It sounds like you have a really good perspective on it. Do you think like those other people that, you know, might be saddened by it or having a tough time with it, and I'm putting you maybe on the spot, it's okay if you don't have something, but like, can you think of something that might help beyond like teaching them or like talking with them about it? Like, I have this silly bot idea, but you know, can you think
I
of
like
something
the bot
else?
idea. I could think of something else. I could think of, all right. Evil Waba ideas. All right.
Okay, if they're bad, if they're not feasible, you know, like that
I
DNA
think,
banking thing.
here we go. Ready? Here's a bad idea. I think before someone presses go live on Twitch, like before they're allowed to get their stream key, I think they should make you watch a video. Or maybe like a few videos.
Some kind of
Just something.
training
Like
sort of
some
thing.
sort of like, I'm a therapist, or like, you know, like, hi, I'm a mental health. Like, I would frontline this. I'd fucking narrate these videos. You kidding me? I'd do these videos myself. Actually, I should.
So
Good
before
idea.
you go
Hold on.
live, you
Wrote it down.
must watch WabaStreams.
Yeah, it's true.
That's the idea.
Yeah, write it down. No, but like sincerely, like have a. I'm writing this down. This is gonna be a Patreon video now. You're all fucked. I'm making content on the spot.
Double dipping.
Yeah, we double dip. We do a little double dipping on the side. This could be like just a YouTube video, honestly. Here, I'll just type it here. Okay. YouTube video idea. Basically a kind of like what to know before you stream. Like broad overview. And give them like a sample video that has like broad overview of like, you know, hey, we need to make sure that you're aware of these things before you start streaming. Number 1, moderation. Number 2, interacting with chat is good. You know, you can do that. That helps grow your audience. Number 3, you know, if it's in your capacity, post about your stream on your other social medias, but, you know, don't just post about your stream, talk about your life, talk about other things. Number 4, you're going to start off with no viewers, and that's okay. As long as you have fun and you're enjoying what you're doing, then it's a successful stream, and you can do this and just have fun and enjoy yourself. And, you know, subset to that, if people aren't chatting, that doesn't mean they're not enjoying you, because as long as you have at least 1 or 2 viewers, that means someone is watching you and is enjoying what you're doing. And there's different ways for people to love you. And reframe this in your head right now that you're not a failure. You're just growing, and people don't want to interrupt you.
I think that's awesome.
Just some sort of like little short like premiere video of like, here's the like top 10 Twitch tips right before you start streaming for your first time, you know, Here's things to bear in mind. If you want to come back later and go to like videos that are more in depth about these topics, you know, please click on these links. Otherwise, feel free to stream. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's like a little training thing. Like when you go to a regular job that's, not streaming, you have some things you have to do before you actually start. Generally, like they give you some materials to go through. I mean, it depends on the job, but I mean, that's pretty common. You watch some training videos, you see some written material potentially, and then you actually, get to talk with customers or do whatever it is you're doing at the job, which is pretty normal. But streaming, because it's sort of just anyone pick it up and just go, that sort of doesn't exist. I mean, there's material out there, but you have to go look for it yourself potentially.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I will say that Twitch does have.
Yeah,
they have some stuff, as does YouTube. On the YouTube studio, they have some like creator camp stuff, but they aren't. I don't want to say it this way. I'm going to say it this way. They're not in your face. Like, it's not obvious that these things exist, and usually you don't end up finding out about them until like much later. Like they have some like Twitch does have like guides on like, your first stream and, things to look up for. Like they have like a lot of these things in text form, and I might steal some of my script from that. But they're not like necessarily very accessible. It's not that they're not accessible, it's just that they're not advertised, I guess, is the way to say it.
Yeah. I guess, I had one other thought. When you were talking about like streaming with nobody and potentially nobody being there, like what would you think about a service that like matched up two streamers that both have no viewers, and then all of a sudden they're talking to each other now, like sort of like cross stream? Obviously total potential for terrible things to happen. You get matched up with, the wrong people, so on and so forth. But
Tinder,
what
but
are
for
your
Twitch.
kind of thoughts? Yeah, kind of.
I think you could do it Tinder wise and you'd be fine. I think you could do it Tinder wise and it would be like a little bit better.
So give you a little profile of another streamer that's currently has no viewers or like one viewer or something. And you can swipe right or swipe left, and maybe you'll get matched with them, and you'll be cross streaming.
I think they integrated that with Stream Together.
Mm-hmm.
And like you both like press accept on it, and now you're like technically streaming together on each other's stream. And like they have you like in like, like in like the upper left corner or something, like you're like watching a YouTube video and you're tabbed out kind of thing, like it's up here.
Yeah.
I think that'd be funny. Or that would be very fun. We're just like, okay, now we're like on VC together, basically, the Stream Together VC. And we can talk about something. Like I'd say it would match you with like someone in your same category. Just chatting would be very varied and dangerous. And very dangerous. Because of kids streaming on the platform. But
it's kind of like Omegle. I don't know if you're familiar with Omegle, but it's like
very
random.
Yeah. Very familiar.
So kind of random video chat with someone, but this would be like a random stream together.
Yeah, like Monkey App or whatever.
With maybe
chat
like
roulette.
some tags or something.
Yeah, it's a Omegle without the penises, right?
Yeah,
maybe.
Hopefully.
Well, I mean, if you're on art category, it's all there now. They just changed that rule.
Yeah, they just changed the rules yesterday. I think it was. Yeah. So
yeah, don't go to art category without the sexual tag on your stream.
Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, I think that was fun to talk about. I think we got some interesting discussion out of that. So we can move on to the next one here. So number 2.
Play nice.
Play nice.
I
based some of these off of some of the quotes or some of the answers you gave me in the prior questionnaire. So I put a piece of your quote there and read about it.
All right, play nice. Play nice. Make sure I don't say the wrong thing. Oh man. I said how I really feel on stream. Oops. Maybe that wasn't what people were expecting. Too fucking bad. I can cry about it. Play nice filters up my straight to the point remarks and sprinkles on some politeness to smooth things over. Fuck you. You
these
put
are
this
not
in here
necessarily
because you're
good ideas.
Canadian. I don't feel attacked. Okay, this is my quote. As in, sometimes I need to play nice for the sake of someone else. I'm not sure how to explain this, but in a meta sense, while doing collabs with others, that's a space I can't control, and I sometimes need to hold myself back from commenting on something when I feel uncomfortable, but find myself unable to leave the space at the moment. Yeah. Oh god, yeah, that's true. I did say that, and I do agree with that. Thanks 1 week ago, me. I agree. Um,
Yeah, so I don't want. I'm not like calling you out on anything, like
no, this is
whether it's
fine.
right or wrong. It's like just kind of a jumping off point for discussing sort of things that happen on streaming, and
Every
it's not
day.
necessarily a problem to solve. Yeah.
That's interesting. I think in my specific instance of problem, I would say that if I could have like more than just like the social contract, but just like an actual like physical contract of just like I can press a button and it'll like play a sound, and to everyone else it'll just be like I'm playing a random sound, but to the person I'm collabing with, it means hey, like yellow light kind of thing. Are you familiar with the concept of like green light, yellow light, red light?
Yeah, it's
It's
used
usually in
at
like
some
BDSM.
conferences. It's used at
Oh, conferences too.
autism conferences as
Oh,
well.
perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So literally like okay, green light, like this is cool. Like I like what we're talking about. Let's keep going with this. Yellow light, like all right, maybe this is heading into territory I don't really feel comfortable with. Red light, okay, this is not okay. Please stop. Let's change subject. If we could have that kind of a thing, maybe it's like a Discord integration. That'd be interesting. Um, I think that's a nice way to be able to play nice. You don't have to say anything. So you don't fear misspeaking, but you still accurately convey to the other people that you're not comfortable with what's happening right now. Now unfortunately that takes a lot of guesswork of and unfortunately it can also put you on the spot of just like, oh, Waba threw up the yellow light, better stop talking, and they say it very tongue-in-cheek, very much like they don't really take me seriously, they don't care about my feelings, which honestly at that point I should just leave. But then it's just like, again, you feel contracted to the social contract, so it's like I don't want to leave, but they are literally like gaslighting me about this, so huh? The fuck, like I can't tell if they're just jabbing me like as friends, or like it's like they really have like ire for me, I suppose is the word for it. I can't think of another word right now, but yeah.
And so what do you think about like this idea here? If you look at kind of the green block down
I didn't see
here.
this.
Yeah, no problem. So
You
the
wanted to say I don't like what we're talking about right now. Play nice, I'll fix that for you. This is a good discussion, but let's also talk about another thing I had in mind.
So the idea here is that like it would actually change what you've said or intended to say on the stream. I mean, how feasible that is or isn't is we're not too worried about that. But like, what do you think of the concept of that? Like, oh, maybe you were gonna say something that is, I don't know, a faux pas or something like in that
Sure.
particular context, and this bot or whatever application actually changes what you've said. So people don't hear the other thing you said or were going to say, and instead Play Nice says something nice.
It's interesting. Sorry,
I mean,
I'm getting caught up in,
obviously.
in how to implicate it.
Oh,
But let's just pretend we're in a perfect world where it can
yeah.
work. That's interesting. I would. Oh man, I mean, obviously, it's like very abusable, but like, cause like what if it's like you're saying like I don't want to say. What if you're saying like a slur, or saying like something really shit, like, oh, I hate all XYZ people,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's like Play Nice. It's like, oh, let me correct that for you automatically, and
Yeah.
now you don't know that person's a piece of shit and you don't want to watch them anymore, because they appear to be a nice person. You know, it's like AI assist, you know, like, I see
Yeah,
you're
it's
being
almost
racist here. Let's change that so you're not, you know, kind of shit.
yeah,
But
I
but
could see
it
that.
definitely in the sense of like normal conversation with like, you know, like a collab, it'd be interesting, but unfortunately I also feel like sometimes it doesn't always. I mean this is a good example. This is a good. Yeah, you know what? Fine. I'm okay with this. I think I'm okay with it because this is a basic enough example, and I think it really kind of like epitomizes the extent of what problems you might have in a collab situation. Is like basically at the end of the day, bare bones. I don't like what we're talking about right now. Now, to me, I don't think that is a impolite statement, but I understand that other people might read it as such because I have a blunt affect, or other people might have blunter affects.
Mhm.
Um, so I understand the purpose, but I think it'd just be a lot easier that instead of implementing this whole thing is just to do some more like, hey, replace this with that. And the answer as to why is because holistic people think you're being rude when you say this. That's all there is to it. Like just be straight with us and just be like, yeah, so this particular series of words in the English language makes someone think that you're being an asshole. When you're not trying to be. We know you're not, and you know you're not, but they don't know. So you gotta translate. You gotta speak a different language. So this is
There's
what you
some
gotta say
transition.
instead. Because like I
So
think a lot of like scripting for me in a way, and the way that I present myself now has been a lot of series is of just of this effectively of like people don't like it when I say this in this way, but it gets received better when I say it that way, so I start saying it that way instead.
yeah, I was gonna say, like, I know this has sort of an ick factor in a way of like a forced masking potentially. Um, and I don't know if you saw
But
it
it's
that way.
use. I mean, I can see it that way, but
Yeah.
it's useful though. That's been my whole argument in general with masking as like a whole concept is like when is it useful and when is it detrimental, you know?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
when are you safe to be yourself and be unmasked? And the answer to that is spaces like this. And when are you not safe to be unmasked? And I would say work,
Mm.
school. Sometimes it's not sometimes, all the time, it can be very stressful and very taxing mentally to keep a mask up for the sake of others, for the sake of playing nice. Um, and if you keep that up for too long, it can get you in a situation where you become deregulated and you have a breakdown or something else, in public, or you try to get out of public view, to have that breakdown, what have you. Um, so I think masking has its time and places and uses, but I think it's also important to, and this is something not everyone knows for themselves, is to know what your limit is for masking, or at least know what your warning signs are when you feel like things are getting too overwhelming for you, and have a way to excuse yourself from a social situation without being seen as rude. I think a great excuse is, I mean, really, it is an excuse, but you could just be like, oh, my mom's calling or whatever. Like, like, oh, I gotta go walk the dog. Like, oh shit, I actually forgot about this thing. So sorry, guys. I'll, talk to you later. Just like easy excuses for yourself to get out of situations that are becoming triggering, not for necessarily anything someone said, but just in the fact that you feel overwhelmed by needing to mask. Obviously, use your discretion of eyes, and it depends on the person and the situation. That's not going to fit for perfectly for every situation, but I feel like in general, it's not a bad thing to know how to mask. Um period. End of sentence. Next subject. Um, and also, it's good to know when you can unmask and be safe around people. So going back to that like unmasked badge thing,
Yeah.
I think definitely in your own space on your own stream, like you should try to feel free to unmask. Though I can understand that it can feel more stressful when you're on stream, and especially if you're on stream with other people, that you need to mask, you need to like have a performance so that you're popular and this, that, and the other thing. Which again, that entirely depends on what your goal for streaming is. Do you want to just be popular and do all the trends and stuff and be a character that's like, you know, an exaggeration of yourself that is a likable, universally likable person, you know, then go ahead and do that and mask all the time and have, you know, nice little 2 hour streams and post on YouTube 7 times, you know, a week, a bunch of shorts and, you know, farm likes and whatnot. You know, by all means, go do that. But yeah, masking can be still important for the people that don't want to do all that as well.
Yeah.
In the streaming context.
Yeah. And I could see like this play a nice thing if it were real. Like maybe some of those contexts you still want to mask, but it's leading towards deregulation or meltdowns or things. And so it can save you some energy in those potential scenarios. Yeah, cool. All right, we can move down to the next one here. So you mentioned it kind of in the last, like, do you have anything else to say that you were interested in talking about kind of bigger ideas about security as a whole, like things like streamer docs prevention, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
So here's a, you know, a silly example of something that might help with that. Basically turns off your whole stream and kicks off all your viewers if you say something potentially doxing.
Yeah, so as everyone here knows, my full name is you know. And I live at 123 Internet Street in Albany, New York. It'd be so funny if that was my actual address. No one would ever believe me. That's okay. Like half my viewers know my address as it is. No, but like, you know, this is a good thing to think about for other people who aren't so open about their shit. And even for myself in some regards. Super secure, make sure I'm streaming safely. I sometimes worry that I might do something on stream that compromises my safety. Oops, I said the name of a place by my house. Now everyone knows where I live. Well, I live in Albany, New York, so, you know, come here, come say hi. Bro, I had people come in my stream before and, like, put my address in chat and be like, yo, we're gonna pull up. I'm like, pull up and do fucking what, man? I'm gonna call the cops, you idiot.
Creepy.
Fuck you mean pull up? You ain't around. You're in Turkmenistan. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Hey, Ribbon, welcome in.
It does remind me of like people call the what is it called? There's a name for it, but you basically like
Swatting?
call the swatting. Yeah,
Yeah.
swatting. So that's a real thing that happens
It
occasionally.
is.
It sucks. Yeah.
It is. When I get popular, when my stream blows the fuck up, I'm gonna contact my local police department and put myself on the list, cause yeah, that's a thing you can do. In particular, I will say that LA is really fucking bad about that. If you ever watched any of those like doxing or not like the swatting stories about streamers getting swatted, they're always in like LA area, like South California type ish. Cause they just don't fuck around. Like the police are like super police there.
Yeah.
So like even if your name is on a list of like, hey, I might get, you know, swatted, please don't actually swat me. No one's dying here. I don't have anyone hostage. I'm just a streamer and I have some crazy fucking parasocial people who want to swat me or whatever and show power over me. They still do it. They still come in, slam doors, you know, break shit. I could post your address if you really want me to. Joking, I would never do that. Honestly, if someone posted my address in chat, A of all, my address is blocked by Automod, so you can't even type it. Genuinely, this is a thing that everyone should know. Let's put this on here as a note, is that like people should be aware that Automod is a thing. and you can add like banned terms. Sometimes it can backfire because if you ban your address and then someone tries to post it and then it says, sorry, your message was blocked by moderation settings, it kind of like confirms for them that they know it.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, if they know it, they know it. Whatever. Like, they're gonna do whatever the fuck they're gonna do with it anyway if they know it. If they're at the point where they're trying to look up your address, they're crazy enough to do whatever the fuck they're gonna do with it anyway. But it still helps so that you don't let other people get informed of your address. So I think it's still worthwhile to put it up, or put your address and put your previous addresses as not allowed words, and make them private as well. That's a setting you can do. Yeah. I think it's an interesting idea is like have an AI to automatically stop your stream and disconnect if you're about to say something that compromises your security. That's interesting.
Maybe a little far.
I feel
Maybe
like
the whole stream, but
I feel like instead of stopping the whole stream, it could just like beep you out for 5 seconds and then like flash a warning on your screen saying like, hey, that thing you were about to say would have compromised your location. Please be careful. Your stream's going to continue when you click continue. Hello, sir.
click to continue.
Hey, baby.
So I'm just adding these as kind of
go
sticky
ahead.
notes down below.
The only thing I'd let have access to my locations Pokemon Go on my weather app. Ribbon, I'm not gonna lie, I could probably find your address right now. I'm just saying, it's very easy. Oh, there's another thing actually. Add this as note. And it's kind of almost goes back to the, where was it? I don't know. The thing with watch WabaStreams before you stream kind of thing. So one of the before, all right, I'm going to clip this. Ready? 30-second clip. Here we go. All right. One of the things that I think people should be aware of before they start streaming is that, you know, A of all, the auto mod stuff and deleting your addresses and stuff, but B of all, there is actually a Twitch page that shows you a series of different websites that you can put your name in and see what information is already publicly available. So like yellow pages, white pages, stuff like that. A lot of that information, a lot of your address information is publicly available, but you can put in requests to have that information be struck from any public record. So if I try to put my name, my full name into Google right now, my address and the last 3 addresses do not show up at all. The only address that shows up is for my address back at home where my parents live. Oopsie, that's a dox technically, but I also don't give a shit if someone fucks with my parents because they're fucking assholes. So yeah. But anyway, yeah, just like go through those every so often and, you know, Google your own name. Google your own name on like a friend's computer on like, you know, a private browser kind of thing. And see if like you can find information about yourself within like just a few clicks. Cuz like there are sites where people can pay for information. So those ones like you can sort of worry about a little bit, but they all draw from the same like public data banks. So just make sure that your information isn't that easily accessible. And especially make sure like the connections that you have with your Twitch and various like extensions and stuff don't dox you as well, you know? Because like some people are like okay with their name being out there, and especially as you get popular, you know, people are gonna know your full name or find it out, you know. Like everyone who donates to me can see my name, and I don't give a shit.
Yeah, some people stream with their full name or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I like Waba because it represents a lot of things for me. But most everyone here knows I'm Henry, IRL. My friend and my partners call me Henry, so it's fine. But yeah, just the bigger idea about security is again like just being aware of it. Like number one is just being aware that these tools do exist and they exist to protect you. And it's good to set them up. Like obviously like people can still choose to like ignore them and be like, it's fine, no one's gonna dox me. But it is again, it's one of those things like you never fucking know on the internet. Like someone could be like that like unhinged and paradoxical enough to want to dox you and and be like, I know where you live. I'm gonna creep in and lick all your doorknobs, you know?
Awesome. Yeah, I like that kind of it ties back to that watch before you stream sort of thing. Like this is kind of just good information for everyone to have to be aware. Some people go live and they don't really know what that or they don't it's not that they don't know, they don't think about the potential things that could happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, just like more information definitely makes sense. I like the idea about like giving some kind of warning messages or tones or something as a good idea. Obviously, like turning off the whole stream is a little extreme. So yeah, something like that, warning messages, those types of things, I think could be useful and kind of interesting to maybe design around something like that. Cool. All right, let's go on to the next one then. If we scroll down or pan down, I guess.
Mhm.
Divergent directive. So this is sort of similar to one of the previous ones, but I'll let you take a look at it.
Okay, divergent directive. Divergent directive tells me how to talk and act in my live stream. Okay. All right, actor, talkie police here. What are you, a cop? Knowing what to do in different social situations is difficult. True. Other people seem to know how they're supposed to act and what to say. Sure. Finally have access to the book on social situations I've always wanted. Yeah, do you? It's free PDF, please. Really, my whole life has been a series of I never got the player's manual to know what to do in this situation. True. That's from me. True, me. Good job, me. Live streaming still has awkward social situations, honest community demanding. Come join me on stream, Waba. NT Dandelion. Play some Final Fantasy. I'll be your Final Fantasy. Ooh, well. Gala Sloth, you missed my long message. Please respond. Yeah, I got one for that. I'm behind on chat. Give me a second. Play some Final Fantasy. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't necessarily have good examples because I haven't been in your stream, but like I was just trying to think of potentially like streaming situations that I've seen come up in other streams of
Sure.
like chatters being demanding,
Yeah,
chatters
absolutely.
not chatters also just making awkward situations and then like potentially going back to the player's manual idea you talking about like in your past experiences in real life, not necessarily knowing what to do in those situations. On stream, you maybe are more comfortable. It's your own space, so that maybe doesn't apply to you specifically in this case. Like you act how you act and how you want to act on your stream, and
Yeah.
that's good. So, but I'm just thinking about sort of the situation or context, and maybe not you specifically, but potentially other people as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So before is like that, you're kind of like, oh my god, all these people so demanding, right?
Yeah.
And then let neurodivergent directive tell you how to act simple. Tell this person that you might join the stream next time, but right now you are busy. Tell Tiny Tiger, thanks for the idea. You might play later. Respond to, so then I said, with, that's interesting. Good, what's the word for it? These are very good, misdirections. Redirections. Tell Gala Sloth, sorry about that, it was an accident. I'll take a look. Yeah, I mean, I think in general, this could, like, also get packaged in with, like, again, YouTube ideas here that I've had swirling around my head, is, like, Twitch etiquette in general as both a streamer and as a viewer. And I have talked about this before a bit on my stream, but just, like, knowing how to respond to people and, not necessarily having to, like, appease people, but more like, how to keep your boundaries without coming off as an asshole. Just, saying these things of like, hey, like, oh, I really don't like, stream with people unless I know them. So like, if you stick around and I get to know you better, then maybe sure we could stream something sometime. What did you have in mind? What are you into? Telling Tiny Tiger like, oh, Final Fantasy, yeah, I love that game. Yeah, we'll get back to that next week. Don't worry. We'll be back to that game next week. Are we gonna get back to that game tomorrow? I don't know, man. I don't know, Chad. I'm sorry. Final Fantasy 14 on hold until I can get my head on straight. Tomorrow's gonna be just chatting a stream, and then we'll do Final Fantasy. Actually, no, I want to do Freddy Fish. More Freddy Fish. We're gonna get an ad right now. I'm so sorry.
Freddy Fish. I took that stream title and put it in all these
Yeah.
examples. Maybe you've been influenced by seeing that there.
I'm influenced. I'm being influenced. You're an influencer. Good redirections of that's interesting, or like, oh, okay, that's cool. Tell me more about that. Like my in psychology, it's called encouragers. Yeah, minor encouragers, I think, is what the term is.
I'll look that up.
I think that's what it's called. I don't know. We're on ad break though. I'm sorry. You can keep talking.
Okay.
I'll hear you. They won't. We'll be right back, chat. We're gonna have a private conference without you. Okay. I keep pressing the wrong one. Hello. So sorry about that.
Hello.
Welcome back
Hello,
from
stream.
ad break. We were having a very private discussion, obviously, about what do we even say? Oh, that the system here that he's suggesting is basically like effectively you'd have like notes on your screen to be like, hey, remember, you know, instead of saying this, try saying that instead, which I think would be good. So it wouldn't be AI, it would mostly just be like oh, hey, I recognizes this situation before, you know, which ironically, like, autistic people are already pretty great at doing, as like, you know, understanding patterns and stuff. And it's just like, I've seen this script line before, I know how to respond now, you know, kind of thing. But yeah, definitely thinking about interactions for next time, how to interact better. So it's interesting.
Cool.
Oh,
all right, we'll move on then to number 5 down here.
Misery mate. Ooh.
So I had a quote for this one as well.
Misery mate. Misery mate lets me instantly make deep connections with my viewers. I don't sure if I like the name. My neurodivergent audience members really get me, but that's not always the case for my neurotypical viewers. Okay. Sometimes my neurotypical viewers don't have the same experience that I do, so we can't connect on the same level. Now with Misery Mate, my neurotypical viewers can feel what I felt. I'm sure to gain some loyal followers with this. Oh yeah. I would never wish any of my trauma on anyone else ever. I would never want anyone to feel as shitty as I have in my life. And I'm sure anyone else who has gone through it does not want anyone else to feel that way as well. But here's the quote. I think because I'm autistic and can relate on these deeper issues, these deep insecurities, and sometimes embarrassing or frustrating, or just insert any emotion here, kinds of experience, I'm creating a deeper connection. I do peer support, so it's important to me and my audience to find me relatable in my experiences and sharing those experiences. A neurotypical person might be able to share certain experiences, but not the same ones of someone who's autistic or any other type of neurodivergent. I could probably add on to this and say, or anyone who's experienced trauma, period. School is the best. I remember there was a really weird kid in my class. I didn't bully them though. That's good. When I was in school growing up.
Yeah, I saw I couldn't find a good icon face like for the streamer person, so it just put
silly.
Like the most neutral, like Creative Commons one I could find.
You should have used this one. The
after one.
With Misery Mate, have something traumatic to talk about all the time. Misery Mate lets your neurotypical viewers feel it. When I was
obviously not realistic.
Damn, that sucks. That kid in class could have used a friend. Lets you trauma bond with. All right, change that. Change that immediately. That's not trauma bonding. Oh my god. I know you're not. Are you a psychologist? I forgot.
No, I'm computer science.
Okay. So very important distinction here. Trauma bonding is when someone who is traumatizing you bonds with you
I see. Yeah.
by using the trauma. You know, I'll give like the most fucking baseline easy example is like well, dear, I didn't hit you that hard, etc. so forth. So what we're doing here is
bonding
over trauma, or bonding over shared trauma or traumatic experience. We're sharing traumatic experiences that we've endured.
Yes.
And
that makes sense.
We're growing or healing together. So,
yeah, so you've already said you wouldn't want to wish your trauma on anyone, which makes sense. I don't think most people would want to.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So just I think what kind of getting at with this idea that's totally not feasible, it's not real world, is just that there, in some cases, you've felt like you don't necessarily have that same connection with neurotypical viewers, and that might impact your stream in some way, good, bad, neutral.
Yeah, I mean,
and so just thinking around that kind of situation.
Absolutely. I have thought about this kind of stuff before too. in a sense of like, in a sense of like, what I'm thinking of, like, you know, I suppose training is the word for it, but like training people on how to be mini versions of me, like how to train people on how to be a pure supportive person, you know, how to respond to someone who's like sharing something about themselves, you know, like learning to be more empathetic and understanding towards people's stories. Like I did a lot of Mental Health Monday interviews, and the kind of the point of that was both education. It was trying to put someone on a platform to be able to share their story and, you know, get empathy rather, from people in chat, or, you know, basically allow a start of a discussion about certain topics of, you know, trauma, or people who have shared that traumatic experience with them. You know, it's just like, wow, I didn't go through that myself, Waba, but, you know, I had something similar where, you know, my mom was like this, or my dad was like this, or like for me that person was my uncle, you know. So in a way, like, we all like learn how to support one another. And secret reality stream, I'm actually teaching you how to support yourselves, you lovely motherfuckers, because you deserve it, and you deserve love and understanding, as you would give love and understanding to anyone else. Hi. Hello. Sky.
I have one cat, but my door is closed, so she doesn't get at me.
Child. Hello. Okay.
Yeah, do you think you have any other thoughts on like ways to connect with neurotypical viewers? Like, what could you maybe imagine doing other than just the streaming itself and like talking about that? Do you think there's ways that maybe you could have neurotypical viewers watch some of those videos like you were talking about before they
I just thought of something.
Watch Autistic Streamers or do a quiz or something?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, actually, I've had people like Bob streaming take like the various autism quizzes on the website that I can't think of right now. Exclamation mark autism in chat, ribbon, if you can. It's called Embracing Autism. That's the site. I remembered it. Ow. Goodbye, Nero. 18 pounds of love.
Autism.
Embracing Autism, yeah. Yep, there it is. Embrace Autism. Embrace Autism has a lot of really good resources for autistic people. And I've had people take the quiz before while I was streaming. And I even took it on stream a few times. And I always usually get around the same score. But it's an interesting thing to let neurotypical people like take a look at and like be like, oh, well, I was able to answer this so quickly. And I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting. You know, that's how your brain works. But for my brain, I have to like question everything, and I can't explain why I have to question everything. I just do. And everything, you know, is like, okay, well, I don't actually have enough details about this to answer this accurately. So I end up having like an inaccurate answer, or just an answer that just, I don't know. It's hard to describe how my brain works, but it's like, you know, you have an answer that's kind of more, you think of too many things instead of you just try to answer a question straight on, which I suppose is the crux of this whole interview.
No, that's good. That makes for a good interview in some ways.
For sure, I think so.
You have lots of stuff to talk about.
Hi. Are you gonna bite me?
All right. And I know we're getting towards the end of kind of the allotted time, so we're actually at the last little piece here.
Oh, fine. Oh, did we actually make it on time? Is this everything?
Yeah, I tried to adjust what we were doing to try and make it fit in, but I think it was good anyway. Like, I didn't like stop you or anything.
We didn't skip anything, did we?
No, didn't skip anything. No.
Okay.
like I said, this was the first time running it, so I wasn't sure exactly timing on stuff, and it totally depends on
Person.
the person. So yeah,
Got to
so
say.
have a little or a lot to say about.
I feel like I have a
each
lot to say,
individual.
so I think you timed this really well. Because I'm fairly talkative.
Yeah, so we can take a look at this last one. This last one doesn't have any picture things involved with it. 'cause
No. 0 out of 10. I'm gonna give you a 0 on Rate My Teacher.
D-.
IRLE in real life everywhere. I really lets me live streaming. Lets me use live streaming features everywhere in the world. Oh man, that'd be great. I kind of try to teach people that. Sorry, I didn't read anything else yet, but I'm just like,
Go for it.
I'm just like ban people IRL, and they're like, how, Waba? And I'm like, you literally pretend that they don't fucking exist. They're talking to you. No, they're not. That's a weird wall. Just walk around them. Just literally ignore them. Gaslight their fucking existence. R/traumatize them back. Probably not actually, but like, as much as you can safely. Talking to someone in person, they're being an asshole. My mods can mute them. I wish. Or you can mute them. Not just your mods, you can mute them too. Streamers, be empowered to use your own moderation tools, please. I promise. I promise it's okay to press the ban button. You're not an asshole for pressing ban on someone who makes you uncomfortable. That was a huge fucking thing.
Yeah,
just to go back to the people that I was with before who were like, well, I don't want to ban them because they haven't been an asshole on my stream. And then they go and be an asshole on their stream. And I'm like, you can ban them. And they're just like asking for mods. And I'm like, bro, your moderation tools are right there. You have as much power as we do.
Yeah, I'm curious if you have like more to say about that. Like I know I've talked to people that they feel like there's this sort of different expectation of like
Yes.
people feel it's like impolite or something. I don't know exactly
Yes.
the right word for the actual streamer to ban
frustrates
someone
me.
versus the
Right.
moderator.
It frustrates me to no end that there's a lot of streamers, and like part of it is like they're uncomfortable and they feel like they need to perform in a certain way, and they feel like if they're banning someone that that reflects poorly on them as a person, and so they need their moderators to like not necessarily be the bad guy, but like to make the decisions for them if they feel unsure. That happened recently. Which like I'm fine with like that if like they're unsure and they're like, hey, you know what, I'm not sure, I need a second opinion. Moderators are my second opinion. And for the most part, that's how I kind of treat my moderators, is like I respect their decisions, and I'm usually okay with everything they do. And if they don't do something that I agree with, I can always reverse it very easily. I'm just like, it's okay. Yeah. I'm like, this is fine. And I'm like, honestly, sometimes my moderators also save me the trouble as well. They just ban someone who's being disruptive, and I'm like trying to be a troll with them back because it's funny. But the moderator's like, you know what? No, they should be banned. And I'm like, you know what? That's probably the right move. I probably shouldn't interact with them anyway. I was just having fun, guys. But thanks for banning them for me on my own sake. You're right. Hold me back. Hold me back. Hold me back, mods. Hold me back. So I absolutely see it as just like a supportive move and just a kind of like collaboration, but definitely there are streamers who see it as like, I can't do any moderation stuff. I'm focused on being an entertainer and doing the stream, and that's fine if you're that kind of streamer that does that, and you're in a situation where you have like thousands of chats flinging by, a mile a minute, then yeah, absolutely. Focus on whatever the fuck you're doing. Don't worry about moderation things. That's what you have a moderation team for. But also, don't be afraid to ban someone, especially when, like, it's you and, like, 5 other people. I'm not trying to viewer shame here, but, like, if your chat's moving slow, just hit ban, or just hit delete or timeout or something. Like, it's not a bad thing. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, that's interesting to think about how it. I wonder, like, I don't know if there's studies of like Twitch viewers and that sort of relationship. I know that there's actually studies around like moderation and how moderators feel about that, but I don't know about this specific tension between like being a streamer and moderating, and how the viewers look at it and how the streamer looks at it. It's interesting.
I think it depends on the community. I have an experience with a moderator of... Who did he moderate? He moderates Hassan Abi. He's a big political streamer on Twitch, very controversial. But they were talking to me and other moderators of Wreck-It Raven at the time about Fossabot. And, you know, from what I could glean from what he was telling us is that it seems that the moderation team feels like almost like it's a separate entity from the streamer, and the streamer kind of like doesn't really interact much in the mod space, but like sets a certain like precedent of like, you know, this is the people I'm going to interact with, these are the people that I don't want to interact with, and then like the rest of it I leave up to you guys. And like the streamer just doesn't even bother with thinking about moderation on their own end. They're just like, you understand what my stream is about and what I tolerate generally and what I don't tolerate generally. Have at it. I'm not gonna like talk to you guys much. You know, I'm gonna just focus on my own thing. And that's fine. That's a way to do it for sure. I like to have it in my... Sorry, I had my music on again. I like to have it in my space to be more of like a collaboration effort of like, you know, if I don't ban someone right away, you know, they can come to me, mods can come to me, we have a mod chat, I have a million fucking mods, and we could be like, hey, this person is like borderline, you know, on the edge of like, I don't know, a little awkward. So they can ask, you know, I usually lean on the side of like, at least time out if you're not going to ban, you know, so that way it gives us time to think about it. But like, you know, mods generally know what like goes and stuff, but I like talking to my mods if I can, you know. Let me continue reading this, I guess.
Oh yeah.
And the chat services... Sorry, go on.
Go ahead. Oh yeah, I was just gonna say it's basically the idea is like bringing some of these live streaming tools into real life. So if you could somehow have your chat with you, your mods with you, and they could somehow affect, you know, if real life people.
I mean, I think you could think about this as a IRL support group. You know, maybe they're not necessarily with you when these things happen, but you can, you know, go to them and talk to your friends about stuff that happens in your life, and, you know, maybe discuss, you know, how you might, you know, deal with that situation in the future instead of just like, you know, freaking out. Although I will say that barking at people in public is very effective. Love that shit. Yeah, my chat's always supportive, so why not have them contribute no matter where I am? This literally happened to me, by the way, where I got kicked out of a LGBTQ like art event in Albany that I was streaming. It was happening in the park, in public, in the park, and it was like an art exhibit, and there's all these queer artists. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. I'm gonna stream it, you know, because I also streamed like farmers markets that happen on that same exact block in the park. And literally like halfway through, some moderators of the event came up to me and they're like, hey, you're making people feel uncomfortable. And I'm just like, no one has said anything to me. You know, I don't mean to make people feel uncomfortable. I'm doing a stream. You know, I'm just showcasing their art and stuff. And they're like, yeah, well, you should be respectful of the space and da-da-da. And, like, you should understand that, like, you know, maybe some people are not out yet to their families. So you're putting these people at risk and at jeopardy, and their privacy is being compromised because you're streaming them. And I'm like, we're in a public space. What do you mean? Like, huh? And they're like, well, you should still be considerate and da-da-da, and you should have asked permission and stuff like this. And, like, you should have asked us beforehand if you could cover the event or whatever. And I'm like, again, you're in public space. Like, I don't mean to like be like a fucking Republican asshole here for a second, but like, literally, you're in public and people are allowed to film people in public. There's no expectation of privacy here. You're literally in the wrong. But because I'm not an asshole, I'm just gonna leave. So I left. I just left. I just walked away like 20 steps to the west, away from like the whole strip, and just started like talking to my chat about it, and they supported me, and they're just like, yeah, that was weird, and they shouldn't have kicked you out. and they don't even fucking know you. And I'm like, yeah, I probably should have just like brought up that I was autistic and all this other shit, that I'm queer too. Like, hello, like I'm visibly autistic and I'm hella fucking queer. So it was what it
So,
was, you know.
so, so in that case, you had your chat there, and like there were,
Yeah,
people you could talk to and be supportive. Do
right.
you have experiences, not exactly the same, but like experiences where you didn't have your chat? Like I'm sure you have experiences.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, just
That,
life in general.
yeah. So what
Um,
do you think about like a way to include your chat
eh,
or your live stream into some of those other experiences?
I wouldn't want to because I feel like in general you should definitely have a good separation of your private life from like your public life. This is not to say that I'm a different person in my private life compared to who I am on stream, and I've been very clear about that so many times. And I've told people like if you catch me on VC off stream, I'm just more quiet. I'm just like a lot more chill and laid back. Streaming brings out the extrovert in me.
Hmm.
So this is like a way where I can express that extroverted part of myself. Um, but I'm not always like that, you know. I can get hype and whatnot in private, but you know, for the most part, I'm just like I chill, I hang out, you know, I vibe. I don't, you know, I have a lot to say if people want to hear it. Um, but yeah, so I wouldn't want to bring it to all of my everyday life. Um, Slash, I feel like some of the situations where I feel like I could use support, it's like it's usually better that it's like not someone live because the I think the problem that I have specifically with someone who's like right there as something happens, that to me can almost feel overwhelming in a sense of like, hold on, like I don't want support right now. I just need to process this for myself.
I see.
Like, yeah, something just happened, so let me process it for myself. And like sometimes chat can help in that sense, you know, in the sense with the art exhibit, they did help because I was just like talking out loud into the void of my chat, and my chat did respond back. The void talked back to me. Um, but you know, I wouldn't want them with me all the fucking time. I think it would get very overwhelming. Because people would just want to try to be helpful as I try to be helpful, but sometimes it's better to just like let someone sit with their feelings, try to self-regulate, and not, you know, it's a bad example, but a good example. It's like if you have a kid, you have a kid, um, and they're
Yep.
young, and you put them on the playground, and they're running around, and then uh-oh, you know, it happens. Your kid falls down, scrapes their knee, right? The classic. The kid
Yeah.
always, the first time they fall ever, they look to the parent and they look to see how you react.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you start freaking the fuck out, they're gonna freak the fuck out.
Yeah.
If you just stay calm and you just like look at them and you're just like, you good? Then they'll be like, okay, yeah, all right, yeah, I'm okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
Kids like look to their parent, and in the same way, like if you have a support system that's always around you, it can get to a toxic situation where basically they're coddling you into not processing anything for yourself anymore and just like automatically getting that comfort. And that's not always a healthy thing. Like, yes, it's nice to get comfort, but it's not always a healthy thing to get comfort and never process it, never like understand like, okay, well, why did that situation happen? What role did I play in that?
Mhm.
Because as much as like things sometimes happen and sometimes people are just assholes to you for no fucking reason in particular, sometimes there are situations where you are partially at fault. You know, it takes two to tango. Maybe you could have just not said anything. Maybe you could have said that instead. And you need to take your own time to process that and understand that you're not always going to be, you know, coddled by your various supports, or that asking for support for something where something is directly literally your fault becomes a toxic situation.
Mm.
Now that could be me projecting because I recently went through a situation where someone was being coddled a lot and would go to supports all the time.
I see.
But it's definitely happened in general in my life of like, you know what? I don't want to be coddled about this. Like I need to take responsibility and, you know, I have to admit my fault and my part in this situation.
It's not an exact
I know it's not exact.
You and your moderators both banning people, you know, without necessarily like engaging with a person. Like where is the line there? Like do you think there would be anything useful coming out of like engaging with those people before they're banned?
Did you just disconnect? He just disconnected. That's unfortunate. That was a good question though.
Still hear you.
Hello.
Hello? Am I
We're back.
Hello? Okay, weird.
You
I could still hear you.
Your sentence almost ended with like, do you think it would be worthwhile to interact with those people before you ban them? Was that your whole thought?
Basically, yeah, or like the positives
Alice.
and negatives of that, because I know it kind of goes both ways. It's not like a black or white answer necessarily, or maybe it is for you. I don't know.
Man. Atlas, you just reminded me, and you're actually gonna help me with this question, Atlas. Thank you for coming in. I think it's yes and no. I think sometimes some trolls are people that want to test the waters in a way, so they say something outrageous, but they can be very easily defused by interacting with them in a genuine way because they don't expect that. It's kind of this idea of someone comes in hot into your space, or like a bully, you know, tries to bully you, and you just like retort back. Instead of giving them that negative attention that they are looking for, you instead like laugh or even empathize with them and be like, you know what, yeah, that could be really tough. And then they're taken off guard, and so because you interacted with them genuinely, in turn they'll be, you know, call it psychological manipulation if you must, but they will be primed, they'll be psychologically primed to respond back with genuinity and authenticity, because you're being such an authentic. I try to be such an authentic person on stream. It often can diffuse a lot of trolls who are like, whoa, I didn't expect that. I just wanted to hurt your feelings, and you just like came back with me with empathy, you know? And then they become not a troll anymore. They become, you know, someone who like likes to tell a joke, but is actually an ally and is supportive. That can happen.
Yeah.
Does it happen often? No.
Yeah.
But I think it can be worthwhile to interact with trolls in that sense, but also in the sense of like for your own personal fucking entertainment and joy. You know, they're getting their fucking rocks off trying to be a bully. You might as well get your rocks off too. Not actually, but like, you know,
Yeah,
get your kick out of pushing back on them and be like, all right, we're doing this bit now, I guess. You know, because that's what I do. I'm wearing pants, don't worry. Streamers have legs, I'm sorry. And I want to be comfy in my chair, so I'm leaned back. But Atlas, you're helping me because I just thought about this with Twitter. You know, and in the sense that like, you know, I find it really hard to interact on Twitter because I have a very hard time believing that a lot of trolls on Twitter are at all well-meaning or well-intentioned. Sometimes they are. Sometimes some comments, even inflammatory as they are well-meaning, as in like, you know, we're after the same goals, but we have a different idea of how to achieve it. You know, that's like the crux of politics, right? Or it should be.
Yeah.
But with Twitter, I just do not genuinely believe that anyone is good faith arguing or has a good faith position, because usually their good faith position is there's a lot of interference of fuck you, you fucking this, that, and the other, thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of inflammatory language in between some opinion and in between some sort of like core fear that they have that we might share. Which again is the epitome of politics. Yes.
Do
What
you
do I think?
like going back to the live streaming, like how you're sort of able to make a little connection sometimes, like empathize
Yeah.
or like, and it's not one-on-one, but it sort of has that feeling sometimes, like you might be able to kind of one-on-one talk with this troll a little bit
I do that a lot.
versus something like Twitter. Do you think like the medium of live streaming allows that, and like that helps kind of diffuse some of that too?
I think the medium of live streaming helps me think of a response quicker. Like I'm quicker on my feet when I'm live, as opposed to Twitter, because I guess I don't have very good empathy when it comes to Twitter, because to me it's just like, you really type that all up and then press the enter button? Did you sit on that? Did you think about it? Because like I think a lot about the things that I tweet out. Sometimes I just like tweet out something random, but like for the most part I'm just like, huh? Like you really typed all that out and then thought to yourself, yeah, that's okay to tweet.
Yeah.
That's what I should say to the world today. I'm just like, I don't want to interact with you. If that's your brain and you're in whatever fucking, mode you're in your brain, saying like, that's okay. If you can justify that to yourself and to the world, then I'm just going to ban you. I'm just going to block you, rather. Mm-hmm. I don't want to interact. I don't want to try to interact genuinely. I probably could. And I think I probably have before in funny little Twitter interactions. I've tried to like interact genuinely before. And I've either gotten nowhere or I've gotten like, you're fucking weird, you fucking this, that, the other slur,
Yeah. And it sounds like when
same with YouTube comments.
YouTube comments.
Yeah, that's another one.
And it sounds like when you're on Twitter, you're putting potentially more energy into each tweet. So like responding to those trolls also takes more from you, more thought and more energy.
Yeah, on Twitter. Versus Twitch, it's just kind of like everything's moving fast. So I'm just like, yeah, all right, whatever, man. Let me respond real quick. Actually, Hotness said, I agree with you about the coddling. My brother was always coddled, now lives on the streets willingly as a choice. Wow. Yikes. It's an amazing question. I'm wildly excited about. Hi, Alice. This is something that comes up on Wisecrack a lot. What is Wisecrack? During their streams, Michael's approach is, if it isn't wildly ... inappropriate, to engage in earnestness and to treat people as humans. Oftentimes trolls aren't necessarily looking for love. Yeah, but someone who can be looking for community. Also, yeah, YMMV literally varies from whom to whom. What is YMVV? YMMV? Your mileage may vary. Oh, that's cool. Your mileage may vary. Absolutely. Agreed. Big agree.
All right. Well, I think I mean, we're over time already, and
I'm chilling.
But we're at the very end, so yeah, I don't have any other things to go over. I want to give you time if you wanted to comment on, add any comments or comment on the study activity itself, because I can improve it, make it changes for other people. Like I said, you were the first one to go through. If you don't have anything, that's great too. I did a good job then, but
I don't know. I mean, your mileage may vary.
Yes.
For real. I think I responded well to these, and I think these are interesting thought experiments. I think other people might try to think about these in more concrete ways, or be more stuck on okay, but like, how do you implement this?
Mhm.
Or like, what's the dangerous of this? Like, yes, if I could give a Misery Mate, if I could give a Neuralink to all my neurotypical viewers, just implant in them a Neuralink,
Yeah.
could be like, like beam over my trauma to them. Like, be like, there you go, you're welcome. And they're like, oh God, how do you live with yourself? And I'm like, it's called healing, baby, and therapy. Ding.
Yeah.
Look it up. You know, some of these are very funny and fanciful. So I enjoy doing them because I'm a very imaginative person. I like thinking about the stories of my life and the stories of like various things. I'm a story person. I'm very into D&D, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
that's good.
I think a lot of these ideas are probably a lot more feasible and implementable than others.
Mhm.
And I think it'd be interesting if we developed some certain like tools or apps, or people took these ideas and developed them into certain tools or apps or bots or whatever.
Yeah, that might be
Um,
me eventually. I mean,
that'd be cool.
sort of the end.
Mm.
Well, I guess
What's
not
your
the end.
favorite function as a computer engineer?
My favorite function is I'm not a
Yeah.
computer engineer, so I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Sorry.
But,
What are you?
no.
Computer scientist?
Computer scientist, yeah.
Same
But
thing.
my favorite function, I don't know, FizzBuzz.
I don't even know what that
It's not really a
does.
function, but it's a test question sort of thing. If you have any
Damn.
programmers in chat.
I almost was a software engineer. That's why I'm asking. I just failed
Uh,
Calc 2 5 times in a row.
uh,
So
Probably
then I
math.
switched to psychology instead.
No. I started in engineering and then I liked the programming a lot and didn't want to do chemistry and physics anymore, so I switched.
Yeah. It's wild. Make you do chemistry, physics. So
Yeah.
annoying. Um, yeah, I mean, this is all good. This is still fun to me. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like all
hope
this.
you had like kind of a fun time. Yeah, so there is another whole part to this, but I'll talk to you like kind of offline about that stuff if you want to
Okay,
continue with that.
I will. I
But
do.
yeah, I really appreciate all the time you took today. I know we went over time quite a bit actually.
That's fine. I told you
Um,
I said
but yeah,
3:15.
but
Your brain joy
yeah,
is
I really,
sparking.
really appreciate it.
Yeah, I
What's
can.
that?
Am I allowed to go through this a bit more?
Yeah, like the Miro and like play
Yeah.
with it
I'm not gonna add
and
anything, but I just want to go over it for them, for chat.
oh yeah, yeah, that's no problem. You can
Cool.
use the link as you see fit.
Thanks.
Um, I will take our recording today
Yes.
and transcribe it,
Oh
which
God.
will take me a very long time, but I will do that. It's part of my process for
Yikes.
my research so that I like really get in the data, and the data is our discussion. Um, yes, it's some of these notes and things we took here, but I'm sure there's lots and lots of stuff that we talked about that are not in the notes, and so I want to make sure I don't miss
Mhm.
that. Um,
Good luck. I
so
hate transcriptions.
yeah, it's the worst part, but it's valuable.
It is.
So yeah, I will transcribe it and I will send it to you. The
Sure.
transcription. It will probably be pretty
See you in a
long,
month.
so yeah, the transcription itself will probably be pretty long. I don't know. And part of the reason for sending that to you is like if there's anything you want to redact or change, like you saw that you misspoke or something. So you'll have that available to you. So I'll send that to you in like a couple weeks time, kind of.
Okay.
Hopefully, I don't know because Christmas break stuff. I got kids and
It's whatever. Take your
we'll see.
time. See you next year.
Yeah, it might be. So if you do want to participate in the next kind of activity, the
Yeah.
next and final one, that might be in the new year.
That's fine.
We'll see. But yeah, I don't know. Do you have any kind of closing thoughts or comments, suggestions, anything like that? If not, I'll say thank you again and goodbye before. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this was all really interesting. Did we go through everything here? Do you guys discuss any special features they identify with? Pick two of the most interesting features for the discussion.
We didn't do pick
Yeah.
two. We just kind of went through all of them, which
Oh,
is
okay.
fine, I think.
It's like discuss, process stories, instance. Ideation. Ideation?
Ideation is basically just thinking about like possible ideas for designing around these sorts of scenarios, which we talked through some of them, and for some of them we didn't, which is totally fine.
That's fine. I mean, I think we talked pretty much in depth about all the things we could talk about. And I'll Atlas, I'm gonna go through all this as well before I'll sign off for today. I got about an hour. All right. Thanks, Terrence.
Cool.
Much appreciate. This was fun.
Awesome. Thank you so much again. And I will, yeah, I'll talk to you offline, I guess, about like
Yeah.
the next activity and
No problem.
your gift card thing
Sure.
for doing this part as well.
Yay, money.
Yeah.
All right.
A little something for your time.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Thanks so much. And
Yep.
yeah, have a good day.
I'll see ya.
Great.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
All right, give me 1 second as we switch over to boop this scene, and we're gonna put up my camera, and then we can talk about this. Bit of a second here. Chrome, very large. Do 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 do. Any questions so far, kits? Also, I hope you enjoyed me watching me do that interview. I think it was very interesting to think about. Where's my camera? There it is. Oh, we back. Yeah. All right. Ooh. I don't know why this is. Why is this weird? Okay, it's fine. There we go. All right. Ooh. Hello, chat. Welcome back. Let me unmute all my alerts and stuff as well, so I don't forget for tomorrow, because tomorrow's gonna be just chatting stream. I'm weird to enjoy talking about stuff more than I like doing stuff. I feel that. Which also explains my addiction to therapy. That's funny. Okay, so basically what me and Terrence just went through is a very interesting thought exercise about like kind of like very out there ideas to the things that I already talked about in regards to the 5 subjects that we talked about. So we had this little flow chart here about let me just press marker real quick. The introduction, what to expect from this, the basic demographic questions, review themed thinking, which is kind of what the then like solutions were focused over. The concepts, ideas that are impractical. We just went through all of them. We did just went through all of them, that's true. Ideas that are impractical, proactive, and objective. I'm just making notes for myself. I'll make a note. Oh no. Okay. Okay, smile. Ideas that are impractical, proactive, and objectionable. Discuss any special features they identify with and pick 2 most interesting features to refer further discuss, reflect and discuss, personal stories, I don't. Okay. And then we had demographics, yay. So I'm Waba, I'm 30, go by they, them. I go identity first, autistic person. My highest level of education is a master's in mental health counseling. No licensure, not planning on it either. I have employment as a full-time case coordinator for housing. I'm a part-time content creator. I live in the US. I am white. I have 3 years streaming experience since June of 2020, and I average 10 to 15 viewers, depending on the stream. And then this was the theme thinking. This was the first activity I did. If you're a streamer, by the way, and you're autistic, you might want to contact Terrence to get involved if you want to get involved with this study. He already did a similar study with other autistic streamers, and it's also paid, which is awesome. So it's a lot of fun. This was the first activity where basically he would have different quotes related to these 5 different subjects. And then you responded to like the same 5 questions. You're only supposed to pick 2 subjects. I picked 4 out of the 5 because I thought I had a lot of things to say, which I did, to be fair. So the topics were access to people and social experiences, sharing your autistic identity, achieving personal growth, control of interaction in space, and accessibility challenges of being an autistic streamer. I thought these were all very interesting, but I felt I didn't have too much to say about accessibility, as I don't know, in general, I could talk about accessibility as an autistic streamer in the sense of just like, kind of like, I feel like, you know, there are some good guides for streaming, but they are very available, but they aren't necessarily in your face. And we talked about that later down below as well. And then we had the introduction of the idea of questionable concepts. And this was a bunch of example questionable concepts of like banking for elderly people. So like contact cards where they get stamped when they pay a bill or withdraw money. DNA banking, you can only pay bills if you use your DNA. Fingerprint cards, you can only spend money when 2 people touch the card at the same time. Or flexible banknotes, which change the amount they're worth as you spend it. Iris checks. This is really funny to think about. I said the first one's probably the most feasible, but if you did it as like a little like chore chart for yourself, to say like every month, like, okay, I paid that bill, check mark, you know. So this is one of the questionable concepts for social media for autistic users. The idea of a masking badge, the idea that maybe some users could be verified to say like, hey, if you're autistic, you can feel free to unmask in my presence and I will not judge you. And I won't take things personally and I won't think you'll be rude or whatever. And I feel like this is an interesting idea. It's very provocative, but obviously it could lead to abuse and, you know, who verifies the people. And then also if a person has a large following and has the badge, you know, could they abuse that and gaslight one person? Potentially, yes. This is another idea, post filters. Instead of applying a filter to a photograph, it's like applying a mood filter to a post. Like you want to say awful weather today, raining nonstop 9 to 9. And you could choose your type of filter. I was kind of confused by cold, warm, color, but funny and troll made sense to me. So it's like /genuine, but it's an AI and it rewrites your post for you, which is fun. This is like community notes. It's called Your Pi, your private investigator, your PI. And gives you a broad overview of like people you're interacting with online, which I think would be a cool thing to do. But holy shit, this would be potentially abusable. Sky, hello, my child. He wants something from me. What do you want from me, Sky? He sure does. I think he's hungry. I think I should go feed him before we continue. But these are interesting. Let me know what you think of any of these things. And these ideas. I'll be right back. Sky, get off. Yes. Welcome back, students. Thanks, babe. Yes. I'm back. I'm here. Okay, so yeah. Oh my god, there's like so many things here going on. So this is like interesting, questionable concepts of like, oh man, what if we could implement these things? That'd be cool, right? Have a post filter, you know, see if this person's an asshole. Should you even like, you know, interact with this person? I think the part of this of like, this person generally tweets about these kinds of things, that would be so useful. Oh man, that'd be so useful. If you could see like, if what a person generally tweets about is like XYZ, like you just get like a little AI generated summary of what they tweet about, then you'd be like, okay, I don't want to interact with this person. They're not well-meaning, so fuck them. Last February, he deleted a tweet about how cyclists should get the hell out of the road. Wow, he hates bikers, you know. He called someone who just bought a bike a complete numbnut. Wow, all right, he's not biker friendly. Fuck him. And then that made it to be questionable concepts for live streaming for autistic streamers. So this is a concept of a program called Somebody is Watching, where it has like an AI generated chat for you, give you a little audience. Even if it's just like an AI generated chat, you know, it can still be helpful in the sense of like, have AI laugh at jokes, set me up for the best streamer I can be, you know, encourage me, you know, and listen to me. By the same token, that reminds me of that episode of Black Mirror. Yep. Yeah, I've heard that comparison before for sure. I haven't even watched Black Mirror, but I understand the reference. So I thought this was a fun thing, and it could be interesting, but I also took this in the direction of like, maybe we should have more tools for new streamers of like, you know, before you stream, like just be aware, like you're going to be sitting at zero viewers for a while. And that's okay, as long as you have fun, you know, and you entertain yourself, then it's a good stream, you know? Just, like, make you watch, like, a video or a series of videos of like, you know, what to know before you stream. And I think that could be a good thing. So this is a good idea as well, on its own, that I think you could opt into. But I think it also raises the question of, like, you know, okay, well, what's the problem here? The problem is that some people feel discouraged when they get no viewers or no interaction. So instead of artificially creating interaction, you know, give ideas to people to create interactions for themselves. Alternatively, the Orwellian, yeah. Social, like, collective social ranking or a program that could potentially be used as that scares me. Yeah. I don't like using that word, Atlas. But yeah, I get you. Play nice. This is another one. This next one. Play nice is make sure I didn't say the wrong thing. I said how I really feel on stream. Oops, maybe that wasn't what people were expecting. Which I thought was kind of, it's like a little masky. Like a little forced masky. Because like, you should be allowed to say whatever you want to say on your own stream. You know? But yeah. I have my quotes are on each of the top of all of these. So I felt like I had to play nice sometimes for the sake of others. Basically, I thought this as like this could be like a Discord integration thing, or like you could play like green, yellow, red light with the person, be like, hey, yellow light, can we like slow down or something? Like have lines for yourself to say when like the topic is like a little bit uncomfortable, you know, and you want them to like maybe slow down or stop. But I also thought about it as like, when is it good and useful to mask versus when is it like it's more detrimental to try to mask in this situation, you know, kind of thing. Because I think masking has its time and place for sure, but like there should be spaces where you feel comfortable to not have to mask, you know what I mean? But yeah. I think in my experience, my issue is not recognizing when the topic is becoming uncomfortable to some degree. Yeah, that's the other thing, is that sometimes I think the self-awareness aspect of this is absolutely also something we should consider. It's like when do people necessarily know when something is becoming uncomfortable for them? Do they recognize their own internal or external signs of that? And that's not always the case. I know for myself for sure, I can sometimes get myself dragged into a situation where I feel in control, but in reality, I'm really getting triggered, you know? So understanding that for myself and kind of stopping myself as well, not just another person. But that's happened to me before, especially when I'm like tired and unregulated. This next idea was super secure, which is basically like, in case you dox yourself, it would stop your stream. I said instead of stopping your stream, it should just like maybe like bleep you out or something. But this would be interesting as like a AI detection tool to be like, you know, hey, you were about to probably say something that like sounds like, you know, someone could dox you, so just be careful with that. I think this could be interesting. Again, you'd have to get it to recognize your voice and stuff like that, but it still would be cool. So if I was about to be like, yeah, guys, I live in beep, it would help. And they'd be like, you can continue stream when you understand that, you know, it's potentially dangerous. This one was Divergent Directive, which is basically like giving yourself notes for how to respond to certain people. Not necessarily AI generated, although a lot of it is like kind of like based in AI generation, or the idea of like some sort of like response program, at least for yourself, which is cool. It's an interesting interaction, and it's an interesting use of AI. But basically like having to respond to these kind of comments, like, oh, come join me in my stream, play some Final Fantasy right now. You missed my long message, please respond. You know, instead of feeling pressured to have to respond in a way that you feel like is probably not going to go over well, instead giving yourself suggestions, or having like, you know, again, the pattern recognition of like, okay, I've seen this. Hey, I want you to play this. Hey, do this right now. Hey, streamer, play this, play that. You know? Oh, hold on. Sorry about that. Had to grab my lunch. So yeah. Yeah. So having this to like the degree of like, you know, having basically little notes for yourself to be like, hey, you know, this is something that people expect you to respond in this way to, kind of thing. And then reacting in live to be like, okay, instead of like just telling this person, hey, fuck off, I'm not gonna do what you tell me to, instead of saying that, be like, oh, hey, that's a good idea, and yeah, we'll get back to Final Fantasy eventually, but right now we're playing Freddy Fish today. I hope you still enjoy the stream, because it's with me. Misery Mate. This one was funny. This is basically like, I called it brain Neuralink. But the idea is like being able to like let your neurotypical viewers either share some sort of experience or let them like feel like have more, basically give your neurotypical viewers more like empathy, I guess, or like just like have them like feel what you're talking about. So this is like the comparison of when I was growing up, and then this person's like, school was the best. I remember there was a really weird kid in my class. I didn't bully them though. And then instead of saying that, they say, damn, that sucks. Or like, that kid in class could have used a friend. You know, more empathetic or sympathetic statements. Which I talked about this in terms of like, I feel like this is something I try to do every day on stream, is I try to effectively train my chat to, and also not using the term lets you trauma bond with everyone. I was like, no, it is not trauma bonding. It is not trauma bonding. Oh my god, it is bonding over shared trauma. It is definitely not trauma bonding. I had to correct him on that one. But yeah, so I thought about this in terms of the way that I already do this, which is I'm just kind of like trying to train people here to be good peer supports for one another and ultimately themselves. And it does work to a certain degree, and also big quote from mine. And then the last one is IRLE, in real life everywhere, basically saying bring your chat and bring your moderation team with you so you can mute people in real life. And I'm like, that's funny. And it might work to some extent, but in real life, it also could look like coddling. And, that's a bit toxic. Don't get coddled all the time. And I personally need time to like process things on my own sometimes too. So yeah, processing things on your own isn't a bad thing. And you can't necessarily have your chat with you always, but it can help. So I get it. I understand the idea, but these are interesting ideas. Maybe one or a few of them might actually end up being something that he could code or make, which would be cool. So yeah, that was kind of this whole interview. I was really, really happy about it. Yeah, if you want to get involved, if you're an autistic streamer out there, just contact Terrence Mock, and you get paid for it too. It's a paid opportunity for autistic streamers. So, big recommendo. All right, let's go back here.
Come catch Waba live, only on Twitch.
Hello. All right. So that was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with this. I can't wait until part 3, whenever that's going to be. I imagine it will probably be sometime in the next year, as he said. So probably January, thinking around then. But yeah, I'm excited for it. Tomorrow's stream will be at normal time, around 12 noon or so. We'll get back to basics. We're going to do a mental health talking stream. We're going to do a mental health check-in talk stream. And we're just going to do that until chat runs out of chat. And then we're going to finish up Freddy Fish 5. And if we still have time after that, we'll start doing some Pajama Sam. That's my idea for tomorrow. And if you don't like it, that's okay. Come watch it anyway. Come hate watch me. Why not? Any hate watchers in the chat? That's a funny thing to ask. I don't think I have hate watchers. That's such a silly thing. Why would you hate watch someone? Whatever. Anyway, let's see who's around to raid. Get off these silly topics. Who's on right now? Ooh. Lady Cleo's on. Anyway, much love, everyone. Thanks for being here. I gotta go pick up Frankie from work now. There's absolutely hate watchers. There are, and I just don't get them. I'm like, why? I mean, thanks for the view, but like, why? You okay? You good? Go to therapy. It's okay. I promise. Therapy's great. I fucking love therapy. Yeah. Much love, everyone. Take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself and others. And may kindness come to you. Drink some water for yourself. Have a good stretch. Have better posture than I do right now. I'm about to go get Frankie. So, I'll see you all tomorrow, 12 noon. Thanks so much. All right, let's go raid Lady Cleo. And here is the raid message. if you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed, feel free to use that one. As always, please feel free to support me on Patreon, starting at $1 a month. And it's much better than a Twitch sub, because you get, not only you get to support me financially here, but you get exclusive content on Patreon, including some cooking videos, some recipes, some various IRL video stuff, just fun extra stuff. So yeah, go support me on that platform. At the very least, follow me. And once we reach 25 paid members on Patreon, we will start doing $25 giveaways. But for now, it's just $10 every month. But yeah, go say hi to Lady Cleo. Very, very excited BDSM, autistic, safe space, sex positive, all that good stuff. She's very ADHD. We love her very much. All right. See you in there for a minute. But I gotta go as well. All right. Bye. Oh yeah, also Discord and stuff and whatever. Yeah. All right. Bye.
I did see Barbie Valen as well. Barbie